But what's happening? Real talk to you guys. Tonight's show is a very, very much. It's going to be a 3-part series. Actually, this is the first part, and I say 3-part, but it might turn to 19 parts. I don't know how I feel about it yet. It may be longer than that. Right now, I'm going to do 3 parts and only book like 3 people. So. I want to go ahead and introduce everybody on the cast. As y'all know, from my far right, your left is LM.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
What's going on? Of course, next to him is the most beautiful Latoya K.
Latoya.
You know, LM be doing the beats for everybody.
Absolutely. Everybody got a big
beats for everybody. Next, Latoya, of course, is the beautiful Autumn Sonata.
Yes. That would be
wow.
That would be you. Yes.
And today's guest is one of the most, I like her. She's a wonderful poet. You can catch her work actually on my YouTube channel, Real Talk to You. She was at Cat's Cafe here in Atlanta and dropped a beautiful piece. Today we have with us one of the poets that's out here in Atlanta doing her thing, and that is Clear Vision 34.
Vision 30. Oh, gosh.
Yes, sir. The reason I had this show on, because obviously I'm a big fan of poetry. Love poetry, love everything about it. But my history of poetry started back in the day. Y'all remember the 90s?
Yeah.
Y'all remember the 90s when they had like, you know, Love Jones and everybody was snapping?
Yeah.
I want to be the funk of your left to do that to your right. Remember that? Okay.
Yeah.
So back then, a brother was in college. So back when I was in college, we used to do this thing called Lyric Junction. That's when the whole Love Jones movement was happening. Everybody wanted to be like a poet. So me myself, I used to go ahead and get on stage. It was ran through like the communications department. I used to get on stage and do my poetry. But back then, I really was only doing poetry because I was trying to get the attention of a certain young female. Because see, back then, we didn't have like Instagram and YouTube, and we didn't have like Facebook to be like, ooh, I'm going to like a picture, so she know I like her. So now what I do is do some poetry. So I called myself, I want to say slipping, dog. I think I was trying a little bit too damn hard.
Yeah, you got creative.
For you poets out there, no, sir, for you poets out there, you ever write a piece to try to get somebody's attention, but you realize it ain't really the piece that you want to write, but it's because you're so far and you're thinking, oh yeah, this gonna get her. This gonna get her. I wrote a piece about me stop being a player. I wrote a piece about me throwing away my black book and offering my love to this girl. I wrote this piece and I performed it in front of everybody. And I used to write a lot of pieces of poetry back then. I meant to bring up some of my samples so y'all can kind of critique and laugh at them. But I wrote that piece, I got on stage, performed that piece, right?
Right.
She said, oh, it's nice. Nothing. I got nothing from her. Like, she was just like, oh, that's nice.
Wow.
Now, mind you, I didn't put her name in the piece, but she knew it was about her. Because I described her in the piece. Now, I don't remember.
You looked at her the whole time.
I looked at man, bruh. The whole
A
time.
little bit creepy. I don't know.
I was real.
My heart got captivated by you.
Exactly.
You didn't look at the crowd. You didn't work the crowd or nothing. Like, you don't know what you do to me.
And all she had
Bartender,
to
get
say,
her another water.
right, all she had to say, that's cute.
That's cute.
That was
That's fine.
cute.
That's all you got. Nice little piece.
That's all she gave.
That's all she gave me, bro. But the thing is, I put my heart in that piece, and that's when I realized that poetry, it's strong. It has like a different type of like vibe. You know, you can, and it pulls something out of you. And that's why I brought Clear Vision on, and of course some other creatives on, because I'm now here in the Atlanta area going to a lot of poetry spots, and I see a lot of people doing their pieces, and I love it. I've been even trying to negotiate with somebody else to do their pieces eventually. I don't want to point no elbows, but I'm just saying. But nah, the reason I'm bringing up this now, because you know how we always bring everything back into relationships. Well, it's always interesting when I see poets go up there on the mic, right? Because everybody's talking about something they went through. Like my piece that I do pretty often is about me going through my divorce. Now, mind you, I don't do it often because I'm not in that space. But now that I'm, I guess, well past the divorce, I can do it because it's just funny to me. But I see some poets go up there and they spit these love poems. Like, I'll be like, who the fuck is he talking to? Is she here tonight? Exactly. I'm like, damn. I mean, and it's so strong. It's like, you see these relationships that happen, but the ones I really like, I think Kim with the K, Kim with the K.
Chris with the K.
Chris with the K, I'm sorry. She did a piece, literally she said the word fuck about at least 101 times.
Yeah.
And it was about breaking, or no, somebody cheated on her. And she was like, you can see, so this is the weird thing about it. You can see that she was doing her piece to get it out, but you could also see her pain. I don't care what you say. I saw her pain. She was laughing. She was like, see, we're here, just turn it up, you know? You're doing poetry. I'm like, ooh, you hurt.
That's a deflect. That's a deflect. For right now.
So as you know, we like to talk about how things affect us, especially when it pertains to relationships and things like that. So my first question to y'all is, who here besides Clear Vision writes? So you
Church
right?
finger.
Church finger?
Yeah. I do.
How about y'all? Y'all right?
I used to, but I don't really write that often no more.
So what stopped? What stopped you?
Life.
Life?
Life, bills, passions.
Man, so I got bills. I ain't got no money for no pens.
All thoughts all over the place. But yeah, I still have ideas though.
Yeah? How about you, Toy? You right?
I don't anymore. I used to write quite a bit when I was younger, but now it's more about like if I'm writing, it's more like just jotting down like my thoughts. But it's not even. I don't even do that very often. And I'm more of a talker. So I record myself talking. I do a lot of that. But no, not a lot of writing. I just don't. I can't find the time for it.
Autumn?
I have pieces all over the place. In the car, I had to record it's not fully done or whatever, but I was listening to a piece off of her Instagram.
Okay.
And a line I took from that and just started writing a piece. Well, I recorded on my voice memo or whatever. So, yeah, it depends on when I'm inspired. It could be by a person or a relationship or a situation. It could be about work or any type of emotion. But my issue is putting the pieces together because I just write on whatever I find. It could be a receipt,
Oh, okay.
a notebook. I have pieces everywhere.
Inspiration comes from anywhere.
Yeah.
At any time.
So do you also spit?
Why are you trying to be like
For those that don't know what spit means, in the poetry world, it means that you actually go up and perform.
Yeah.
And some people do probably spit because they'd be so passionate about it. But yeah, so do you spit?
I have not in some years, and
In
I
some
like how
years.
you trying to slide that in there.
I'm sorry, am I doing something? I'm just asking questions. Just only asking questions.
And you
I know.
cannot. But I will soon.
Yeah.
I will soon. I have to get in the atmosphere and just be submerged into it. So
Okay. Okay. And if you guys don't know, I go to a lot of poetry spots, so definitely check out the YouTube page, Real Talk to You. You'll see a lot of things that I record. Check out the Facebook page. You'll see a lot of different things that go on in the Atlanta area if you ever want to check out some poetry spots. So let's go to the resident expert right now. Clear Vision.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
what inspires you to write your work?
Everyday life.
Okay. Talk about it.
Everyday life, relationships as far as family, love, friendship. You pull from all those different aspects in life. And right now, my journey is evolution. I'm coming up out of something that had me down. So it's like my poetry just bounces back. But right now it's about elevation. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's where I am right now. So that's what inspires me the most. Just life and people, beautiful people. It's weird how some people are they're just here, existing.
Yeah.
And they're not living. And when you live, you see people. And you see the beautiful aspects of everybody if you pay attention, because sometimes life can get so hectic.
It does.
You don't stop and breathe and take it in.
Sometimes you don't see what it is.
Right, and
You're
take
just
it in.
around.
But then you have that moment, and everybody don't have it, but then you have that moment where you just stop for a minute. And then you just start to see, it's like you see rainbows.
Yeah.
You stop and you're breathing and you're seeing rainbows and you're seeing people, you're seeing auras, and your eyes are open.
So when did you get that understanding? Because I'm going to be honest with you. What you're talking about, I fully get. And for me, I want to say I probably got to that point when I was at my lowest. Is when I got to that point. So after I got up being at my lowest point, that's when I wrote my first piece about what I was going through.
Right.
And then when I wrote it, I was able to see the humor in it, because I can't be a sad dude. I'm too big to be crying on stage. just so y'all know, I'm like 6'3", 270. I can't cry on stage, but I can entertain on stage. And when I did my first piece, what I was trying to do was reach other people with that piece, and it was like I'm talking about tonight. It was almost like therapy, but at the same time, it was me getting mine out. Just like Chris with the K, I had to get it out of me. And I always say, if you can get it out of you, whoever receives it, how they give it back to you encourages you even more to get past something. It's almost like you got hurt and your mother goes, "Oh, that's okay." But if you don't say you were hurt, your mother can't say that's okay. Your mother can't give you that church motherhood, you know what I'm saying, and make you feel better. So like for you, what was your lowest point to get you to that part of like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do? If you don't mind sharing.
No, I don't mind at all. My lowest point was
You didn't do jail time, did you?
almost, but
Oh,
I got out of
All right, we'll see you next time. All
Thanks
right.
to God, I'm free. You know,
Okay.
no witnesses, so I'm good. You
Okay.
know? No,
We passed that limitations, are we? Are we past that?
done. I'm free. You know.
Okay.
I sleep well. But no, I'm sorry.
No witness. Okay.
My lowest point is when relationships were going bad for me. Because
All in there.
I was not living for me at all. I was living for everybody else around me, which made no sense that it took this long to figure that out. But when you hit that low is when you finally see somebody is going to treat you like complete, like you just don't matter in this world. And then you have to sit there and you have to, readjust your mind to what you were so used to. And that's not you. That wasn't you.
So did you write before this happened? I mean, what pushed you to the writing?
Okay, see,
were
the
you
thing
always a writer?
I was, but that was musically.
Oh, really? That's
Yes.
right, because you was singing on you. She can
Right,
sing, y'all.
I wrote.
She sang with an A-N-N-G. You know what I'm saying?
I wrote music, but not poetry. If you
Okay.
think about it, it's the same.
It is.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's the same. You write books, you write songs. It's all
Just
It's
different
all
delivery.
one.
Just
It's all
different
one.
delivery.
Yeah,
That's
it's just different ways of having it come about. But yeah, I was just not. I was at my lowest relationships and dealing with toxic people.
Did you write during the relationship or you wrote after?
No, I wrote after because I had to figure out what it
That's what I'm
was.
saying.
Inspiration.
You get that inspiration
First.
and you're figuring it out stage.
Yeah, and so once I figured it out, once I stopped playing the blame game.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Because
Easy to lose
a
yourself.
lot of times in any sort of relationship, we're good at, oh, why did this person do this?
Right.
Which it could be wrong, but what did I do?
What
Why
you
did
do?
I
Yeah. You just
stay that
must
long and
have
allow
known.
them
Yep.
to do that?
We
And once
all
you figure
play
that
a
out, and
part
it's
in our own
Absolutely.
sorrow.
right. And then you go there, and then that's when the emotions start pouring out. And then you pick up a pen, and then you're surprised, like, oh, okay.
I got a lot to say.
So what moved you from doing the one to be a writer, or I'm sorry, one to write about your pain? Was that the last resort, or because I know you said something about police, but was that the last
No, I
resort?
was saying-
no, but I'm being honest though, because see what
Right.
happens is when you
Right.
get hurt, especially relationships,
Right.
the emotions will turn you in different directions. So,
It will.
so I'm just like wondering,
It
like,
will.
what made you turn to the pen versus turn to the knife? See what I did there? See what I did there?
right.
I wasn't ready for that. Right? I wasn't ready for that.
Clever.
I wasn't ready for that.
Because I thought about what are you good at?
Okay.
Right. I'm not gonna go and bust windows.
Okay.
I'm not that type of confrontational person. You know, so I'm like, oh, you're so mad, you want something to do.
Well, emotions
And-
can make you that way, though. I just want to put that
Yeah.
out there, even if you're not.
But for some
I got
reason,
you.
that's the first thing I did was pick up a pen and so angry, just going and just going and just going and just going, and then the words start to flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're telling a story,
Yeah.
and then it's poetry, and then it's music, and then it's just art in general.
So do you remember your first relationship breakup piece? Like, what was that like? How did it feel to write it? How many FUs was in it? And did you put his name in
It
it?
was probably I Hate You. That was probably the name of it.
A Khalees.
I can't
See,
stand you.
The thing about it, I didn't cuss in it. I
Okay.
didn't. Yes, I did.
I'm about to say you wasn't that mad, dude.
Yes, I did.
about to
Okay,
say.
let me change that. Yes, I did. I did not put a name in it because by the time that I did start jotting it down like that, it was a combination of all. relationships, not just the
Gotcha.
one.
Yeah.
So maybe it was
It's the
reflection.
build up
Reflection,
that made
yeah.
me do that. Yeah, not just one.
Oh, it's not just one.
No, it was the
That just
build
brought it out
up.
of
It's
all the
like
last
this
one and brought all
happens,
the
and
rest
then
of
you're
it
like,
out.
okay, I'll let it pass, and then something else, and you're like, all right, I'm
So
gonna do it
Miko
one more
Green
time.
has a question for you. When did you learn they were toxic and what that meant? Like the whole toxicity of the relationship and what that meant to you as far as it pertains to your writing and finding more about you.
Okay, what I mean by toxic, when I realized it, is when your mental stability is in question.
Okay.
That's how I find out.
I feel you.
Depression sets in, stress sets in, you know.
Did you find yourself doing things that you wouldn't normally do, or your family members looking at you like, "Hey, why is she out there walking around with green socks?" No one.
All right.
It'd be weird shit like that. Your family be nice, like, "Hey,
Sorry about
what's
that,
that you doing nowadays? You
All right.
got green socks on?"
She got on green. Sorry about that.
My bad.
Sorry, brother. You just see her look like.
Yeah, I did
That's because she don't write enough. You gotta get that pain out. woman.
Yeah, but
How much?
I'm mainly happy all the time.
Okay.
But then I wouldn't talk much. And they're just like, it's not like you, it's like you're just wandering around.
Yeah.
That's it. You're just wandering
You're just
around
there.
and your life, the life is gone. So my family did, and they're just like, this is like not you. Good thing that everybody doesn't have that, but I have a lot of support, you know. But at the end of the day, you can only get yourself through it. They can't. They can
Sure.
be there for support, but what is that going to do? They can't live your life for you.
But you have to be at that mental space to listen to them because
Yeah, right.
you know when you're there, you're like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You don't know what you're talking about.
Or everybody
But
else is
That's
wrong.
before you actually turn the mirror on yourself and start looking
Right.
like, maybe okay,
And then
maybe you're right.
But for some reason, that's what I went to.
Mhm.
I didn't go to anything else, which is weird. But I didn't go into the throwing things, breaking things, and you know, I went the downtime, the depression, the stress, and then it's like I'm gonna write it out
Did you write after depression, or did you write during the depression? During the depression.
Yes.
So when you look back at
Yes.
that writing, what do you feel now when you look back at it?
Let me tell you, when I look back at it, and you're like, wow, that was a low place. But I tell you what it taught me, I will never, ever in my life,
Let somebody do that.
never, ever in my life be back in that place.
Okay.
Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Because then you see, like, what was I thinking? It's so dark. The writing is so dark, and it's like, wow, I'll never, never, never do that again.
You know, just think he was cute.
I'm into him. I love him.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it
yeah, Denzel years.
His ears, okay.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne hands. No, I'm joking.
Man.
How about y'all? Anybody over here had to write after going through a breakup, or did y'all turn to the knife or the pen?
I mean, I turned my fist a couple times.
All them is violent. Y'all don't know she was violent. You got any domestics on your record or
Don't let
something?
it right fool y'all. Don't let it fool y'all.
Man.
But yeah, I turned to the pen too. It was because I didn't feel like I could trust anybody else. And I needed to be able to freely express myself without judgment. And so after, telling everybody else they were wrong for judging me or telling me that I was, outside of myself, I had to find some place where I could be free and admit my faults and cry it out and write it out and say whatever I wanted to say without judgment.
Without judgment.
I have some of my notebooks that I started writing in. Some of them were letters to people who have hurt me, exes or family members or just associates. And I could still see the pain in some of my handwriting. Like my handwriting was just way off. It was angry. I have some rips in some of my papers. I have crinkles in some of my papers from tears soaking my pen. And it's just, you can see the ink just kind of, dripping. But it was the most liberating thing because I can look back at it and say that's where I was and remind me of what I've been through and not to, go back there. So, and as I grew, and even when I write now, I can see my handwriting is just it's legible. It's beautiful.
Not right.
It's like
It's happy.
It's like a time capsule then.
Yeah.
So you can always just like, hey, it's like a photo album. family
Yeah.
out, like see where you were at that point.
You can
I
tell
said,
when I had
came a
kids
long way.
and-
Like,
Right.
wow,
Yeah.
I was like this, and look at me now. You know,
And it helped me
Just go all the
fight
way
like
to-
what do you call it, postpartum. I didn't go through
Oh,
any of
yeah.
that because when I got stressed out about having kids, I wrote it out.
Mm.
I wrote it out, and you can see my growth as a parent through my words.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Latoya, I got a question for you. We got from the people watching here. And before you answer your question, because the question is directly related to you, knowing what you know about the signs and knowing what you know about, astrology and certain things, from you meeting Clear Vision for the first time, how would you decipher or decode her particular sign from what you're seeing?
What would I guess?
wow.
Yeah, what would you guess? Because that's the question I got right now. Someone said, "Hey, since you got the
Cancer, you gonna put her on the spot like that?
You're not a Cancer?
Mhm.
Are you a water sign?
Mhm.
Okay, so it's definitely water.
yeah."
Mhm.
Then if you're not, you're maybe a.
Hold on, I know the water sign.
It's only 3 of them.
Pisces.
So I got it. The next time I got to get it right. Or
That's the only one I know. I forgot.
You got me. I forgot.
I know it's a fish.
Sorry,
Pisces is a
Toya, don't
fish.
beat me. I'm sorry.
Okay, so the 3 water signs are Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer.
Mhm.
Oh, you're a Scorpio. You definitely a Scorpio.
Yeah.
And you know why I know? I can tell. So I only got 3 signs that I really love, and that Scorpio was one of them. Dang.
Scorpios are really passionate people.
Oh yeah.
Migo Green, you hear that? That was your question
Deeply,
answered.
Like deeply feeling people, but I knew it
Feels
was water.
everything.
I know it was water.
Yeah.
I thought it was Cancer because you said you withdrew for a while and then you
Mhm.
came out, and Cancers have a tendency to do that. So
Yes,
I
they
literally was sitting here thinking, which is so amazing, that she asked that question because I was sitting here thinking, like, I wonder if she's a Cancer.
I like her.
Yeah.
I swear it is.
Yeah.
Just the way she explains stuff, like, yeah, you
Hey,
can.
Migo, so that was the answer to your question right there. She is a I'm sorry, Scorpio.
Yeah, Scorpio.
Yeah, I know. I just sound
You
like
probably have a
Scorpio.
You said
Cancer
you liked
though
it.
somewhere. You know your chart.
Yeah, in my what is it?
Moon
Sun,
sign.
moon, horizon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
I
are
have
y'all
probably
so
have
smart?
it somewhere, yeah.
They got
for
deep
sure. Your moon
Yeah.
is probably Cancer then.
It might be.
Mhm.
It might be because I have some.
I'm
Yeah.
knowing.
It might be.
Sometimes.
It might be.
Sometimes.
It might be.
Sometimes.
I don't know, but it might
Mhm.
be.
So.
Team Scorpio. Look, I'm getting Team Scorpio over here.
Right.
I didn't want to get left out, so I had to join somehow. You
Say
know,
something.
y'all had a conversation going without me.
So Latoya, question for you now. How did you or do you deal or cope the same way? Like, do you go through the writing process, or how have you, or has it ever happened for you?
I'm just the type of person, you just never know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? It just really, it fluctuates for me. So there are periods where I will write, and there are periods where I'll become like really intense in the gym.
Mhm.
Like I've done the
Yeah.
Spartan race before. I used to do like all types of obstacle courses. Like that was like my outlet. And
Yeah.
I got tired of that. So it just really depends. But for myself, emotions are really uncomfortable for me. And that's why I'm able to talk about them so well, because I can intellectualize them. Like I don't like feeling a whole lot because I get really intense.
That's interesting. You said emotions are uncomfortable for
They're
you.
very uncomfortable for me. Yeah.
I'm trying to understand that. Like, you say uncomfortable, like you don't face them, or uncomfortable in the sense that you don't want to feel
You don't
them.
want to deal with it?
I don't really want to deal with them. I like to be just like real, like dealing in logic and intellect, and like I like to work with that. You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna feel, let's talk about how we feel. We ain't gotta be, like so expressive. And that's the part of myself like, I don't love that about myself. It's not something that like I'm so happy about.
Yeah.
But it's just part of like just my psychology. It's just the way that I am. Just like very like serious and stoic.
So you rather talk about it than write it down
For
and
sure.
put it to you.
I'm in
Even
touch
when you
with my
talk,
emotions.
because even when you talk about it, you still get it out.
Right.
It's just like free verse poetry, basically.
Right, but if I'm crying, it's a problem.
Uh-oh.
If I get to the point I'm in tears, I'm like psychotic at that point. Like I didn't reach my breaking point,
I got you.
and who knows?
I
Who
got
knows
you.
what's gonna happen?
So how do you feel when you're trying to communicate but you don't get that from the other person?
Get what, like that intellect or what you-
Right. From
Um,
talking it out, but that doesn't come.
it's more frustrating for them
Okay.
than it is for me, because
Okay.
then I'm still analyzing. Like, well, what's happening here? Why are you
Mhm.
so wet stuff coming out your eyes? No. what's happening here? No, but
So you say, what's that wet stuff coming out your
what
eyes?
is that? No. But my husband, he's a Pisces, so he's very wavy. You know what I'm saying? He's emotional.
Yeah.
He's an emotional person,
Mhm.
emotional dude. So like it I don't know, it can get overwhelming. Like I get overstimulated, and then I withdraw. Like I'm not gonna deal with this right now.
Like it's too much for you, right? I got you.
Let's come back to this one where it all.
I was feeling bad that you over here, so you about to make me feel worse.
So Toy don't like feelings is what we got from that. Tomorrow, what's up, man? How you deal with it, man? You say you used to write, right?
Yeah, I used to. I produce music, write all the time. Up until being older, I used to always, since I was like 15 to like 20 something, I used to just write all the time. And every time something happened, my heart broken or emotions or anything, I go. That's what I did every day, anyways. But then at that point, you're right. The material gets a little dark because your emotions, your mood's in a different place. Like, hey, I don't like you. I hate you. Why did you do this to me? You broke my heart. But that's mainly how I would do it. And then I started making music. So then now, then I know how to make the right type of songs that I want to hear with the mood that I'm feeling. So.
That's a hell of a connection.
Poetry sometimes too, but now I use my phone recorder and just spit out ideas because now it's kind of hard for me to, I don't know, it's just me. It's kind of hard for me to sit down and write a whole song that way now. I just have to just record my ideas and then piece them together now. So.
Hey, shout out to Angela Jackson and Kiana Jones. Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, it's pretty interesting that you're talking about the whole music thing because you were talking about how you were a songwriter.
Yeah.
Obviously, Twan making music or Ellen making music. I get the connection, and that's what kind of gets me sometimes. So I go to these poetry sets, and I always wonder: did the poet or the rapper come first, or the songwriter come first? Like, who came first? Because sometimes some of these guys go up there, some of these girls go up there, and they do a piece, and you go, "Oh wow, that sounds like a song." And I've heard like Kanye on Def Jam Poetry pretty much just recite like
verses.
But the way he delivers them, they have a different tone, a different type of punchline to them. So that's always wondered, what do you guys think came first? I mean, is it all the
poetry?
same?
It's all poetry, and that's how it normally starts out.
Yeah.
Rhyme. Sometimes it's rhyming and it's consecutive, and then sometimes it doesn't rhyme. It's just basically how your mood is. But it starts out the same way as poetry. And then after that, sometimes now you're in a different space. You're like, hey, I'm just gonna write out what I'm gonna write out what I'm saying. I'm gonna say what I'm thinking, not in a singing tone or anything like that. This is how I feel, so I'm just gonna say it. Then there's other times where you just, hey, this is how I feel. I feel like it's better if it's words put to music or put to some kind of vocal tone or something like that.
Now, I've seen Clear Vision's piece, and the thing about me and poetry, I love it when you see someone do a piece and there is music attached, almost the singing part of it, almost like a chorus, but it more pertains to a message in actually the song or in actually the verse, however you want to say it. But I've seen people perform before, and some people get it right and some people don't. But check out Clear Vision. Hers was dead on. I was enjoying the heck out of it. So that's why I wanted to ask that question about who came first, the rapper or the poet or the songwriter or the poet, because it kind of does blend lines. Another thing that I always notice blends lines too is that we have now this social media thing. And as people who put their information out there, you're kind of sensitive about your ish, and
it's your baby.
It's your baby.
It's your baby.
But I always wonder when you talk about social media, you talk about people who are trying to, I guess, get their stuff out there. Does social media, and how does it play? And I want to ask you guys individually, how does it play for you when you have something you want to say? And I'm not talking about necessarily poetry, but I'm just talking about maybe a thought. Because, the same way we do our poetry, write our poetry, record it, and put it out there, it's a timestamp. The same way we look at social media, it's a timestamp. So when I see social media and I see what people put out there, I always wonder, is social media killing our poets because of the creative side of them putting maybe 2 words out there and they start thinking about what they want to say, but they only put a piece out there? Or is like the media killing? I'm not sure how to actually phrase it, but it always. So here's an example. Someone will write something like real deep. Like, matter of fact, Sincere wrote something today real deep, and I can't remember all the details of it. And Sincere is another poet that I follow. And I was reading, I was like, oh my gosh, that's deep, what he said. But then beyond that, there are people that critique what you write. And somebody might say that's not all that or that's not this. And then it pretty much is like crapping on your shit. So I was always thinking about the up and coming poets or up and coming thinkers and when they write something. Like, how do you guys feel then when you write something and how it's critiqued by people that are your friends on social media?
To be honest, I don't feel any way.
Okay.
Because that's something that's mine.
Exactly.
You can feel how you want to
Exactly.
feel, but that's where I came from to become comfortable with myself. Everybody
Okay.
is not gonna like.
Yeah.
It's not a sellable thing.
Yeah,
it's
but-
how you feel.
Right,
It's
I
not-
didn't write that for
it's-
you.
Right.
You were in a space and you need to get it out, and this is your therapy. It's not for everybody else.
Absolutely, but
That's
it's,
where you
it's
are.
some people you're gonna reach, some people you're not.
Absolutely.
But I don't pay attention to
You
that.
don't write for that.
I don't write for that. Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to Makiba. What's going on, baby girl? How you doing? All right, Autumn. Same question to you.
Same
Mhm.
same response. I don't care.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to get it. They're not
Mhm.
going to understand it. They don't know. They can't understand your emotion through QWERTY characters. They can't understand where you're coming from. They can't hear you express it through a text or through your social media. So they don't get it. If I don't get one like, I don't care. Because
Okay.
if I got it out, if I accomplish what I need to accomplish for myself, then I'm good. I won.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Toy? So it's like, I don't like feelings. All your
I'm
feelings.
feeling something right now though, like with that question, because like for me, it's survival of the fittest.
Okay.
Like the people, because I'm a vlogger,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not, a poet. I don't do creative writing, but I put my stuff out there. I'm still a creative,
Absolutely.
and I'm putting out my thoughts and my feelings in an intellectual way. But most of the time, it's what I'm going through at the time.
Yeah.
And when I first started doing it, I was hesitant to put my words and my thoughts out there.
Mhm.
But just over time, it just became a thing that was like, I feel so passionate about it. I feel so strongly about it. I feel so like committed to what I'm doing for myself.
Right.
That it doesn't matter what people think, and the people who do care are eliminated, and that's like one less person. Like
Right.
they say the cream rises to the top. So the people who are affected by that, who get in their feelings and they stop creating,
Mm-hmm.
they don't deserve to be there anyway. So they
Right.
They
You
can
don't
go.
write for
They don't need to be in the
recognition.
forefront. Then they need to be writing just for themselves. They don't need to
Absolutely.
be public. You need to just, be in your bedroom, pull out your journal every now and then, read it and put it back. You shouldn't be on social media.
Right.
But the
I
people
agree.
who belong there, we tough it out. Like sometimes people aren't going to agree with what I'm saying. Sometimes I look back on it and I'm like, what was I talking about?
Yeah, but not
That
even-
makes sense.
Yeah.
Not
You know?
even just for that. People even do things for likes, and if you don't get enough likes,
Yes.
Right.
then it's like, oh,
They
it wasn't
determine
good,
your
this,
worth,
but it's
yeah.
not a.
It's not a popularity
It is
contest.
not.
It's not.
So
Yeah, but that's like a disease now.
Oh yeah.
See,
Mhm.
and it's most, I feel like
Likes.
it's a lot of like younger people, and I don't
Mhm.
want to just attack younger people because there are some, older. When I say younger, I mean people under 30. I don't know how. Are you under 30? I don't want to just say that. I'm saying people
Am I-
under
Well, she'd
25.
be an exception, so she ain't offended.
I'm
She be okay.
okay, but like a
She
lot
said
of
not
younger
today.
people,
Right.
struggle with that, needing that validation.
They do.
Because they grew up in a different time. We went
Yeah.
through, many years. We had no,
None
but
of that.
people around us, people
Yeah.
we knew, we didn't have the ability to reach the masses like that.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that kind of pressure. So these younger people, they really struggle with that. I have a daughter. She's 20 years old. God bless her soul. Very talented young lady, but a lot of times she's held back by, well, she'll delete a picture because it didn't get enough likes. Just delete it. Just delete it.
And that goes to another point. I want to shout out Kiana Jones real quick. She just said she used to love to write, at the spot Just Joking downtown in Waukegan. But then eventually what happens is, that's why I kind of like Atlanta. The scene died in the Waukegan area, and all the good poets went away. And a lot of the good poets went online, like we're talking, but then they got critiqued.
Yeah.
And as secure as you may think you are, or insecure as you think you are, when you go online and you put something out there, to LaToya's point, it's one of those things like if you don't get the likes or you don't get the
response that
you
you
want,
thought.
it makes you wonder. So like,
Maybe I'm not that good.
or are you doing it for sympathy or empathy? What are you looking for based on your poetry? What are you looking for?
Right.
So that was a good point, Kiana. Twan, what about you, man? How you feel when you put something out there? It doesn't have to be necessarily a poem. Just sometimes you put like something you're
You
thinking.
don't post to Facebook.
I don't, because I
I'm so
don't.
tired of you.
I don't like putting a lot of my business out there. Let me put that out there for everybody else. Everybody else, you're fine with it. Sometimes I'm okay with it, but sometimes I don't need validation on
Yeah.
certain things, and I don't. If I put something out there, I don't want your likes. I don't want none of that. I'm just putting it out there just because I want to show people what's going on with me. But as far as people, if you put something out there, I feel like, me personally, as a songwriter and music, every time I make a beat or somebody and I'm letting people listen to it, I get a little nervous every single time. Every single time. And no matter how good it is, oh God, this is incredible, this is good. Every single time I would put it on and I'll go and look like this way, like, okay, maybe he'll like the track number 2 because he ain't really feeling number 1. That's how it is. But when I'm thinking I'm in my writing space, it's whatever. I don't even care. I don't care how anybody else feels. When I'm in my writing space, I'm just writing what I feel and what my thoughts are. I'm not looking for any validation. I'm not looking for anybody to like it. It's like, hey, if it's here, it's here. If you got something to say, fine. If you don't, fine. I'm me personally. I'm that kind of person.
And that's a good way to be. Now, I remember when I first put up my first piece on Facebook, and that was one of those things where I had just gotten somewhat over the divorce, and I had just wrote that piece, and the piece had to do with, a lot of things. It had to do with me and my kids, had to do with child support, had to do with finding the next woman, and it had to do with all that type of stuff. So when I put it on Facebook, it had been 2 years since I wrote it. Because I wasn't in, the reason I put up my stuff, I cannot be in that place. That's why I don't really recite some poetry, because I can't be in that space anymore.
Right.
Because
right.
I can't take that pain on stage with me.
Right.
I got to get over it before I do it. So when I put up my first piece, and the first thing I did once I put that piece up, I posted, I looked at it like, what's going to happen here? Because people going to be like, they're going to see my weakness. They're going to see my vulnerability. They're going to see my comedy side. Hopefully they think it's funny. And I put it out there. I went away from Facebook for a little bit, came back, had a few likes. I was like, okay. But then the thing that really made sense to me, that I really felt the energy back from, was the comments. And people saying, oh, I had to read this whole thing twice. And I was like, oh, at one part when you talk about XYZ, I get it. I know what you're talking about. And that's the connection I usually make with poetry, is the fact that when I hear somebody up there doing their piece, it's kind of similar to like when I see something on Facebook. I kind of have to understand what they're going for. And for some pieces, you can tell if they're going for sympathy or empathy. And sometimes when you empathize with someone, you connect them more to the piece. So I had more dudes that were obviously had been through what I've been through, and they were feeling it. I had some women who sympathized with what I've been through and were kind of understanding it. So like, when you look online, like you were just talking about, Toya, we look online, see people with likes and stuff like that. How strong do you think it is for everybody else out there when it comes to dealing with sympathy? What do you think of people are posting about right now? Is it empathy, the superhuman power, or they're looking for sympathy? And I say that in the context of focusing on people's, I guess, security, insecurity, mental health, all that stuff.
Just from what I see, I just see a lot more people looking for like sympathy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I
going
agree.
online and just like wanting, to be pat on the back or whatever.
True.
And that can backfire easily, because then when you don't get that, then you went on there trying to fill some emotional void that you were having at that time, and then you don't get that, and then you walk away feeling even worse. And then people post, don't nobody got my back like I didn't have their back. And you start saying that kind of stuff, but everybody deals with things differently. I don't know where they're coming from, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I would have to know the context of it, and, people deal with things different ways.
Okay.
And that comes from them living for other people
I was
instead
just
of
about to
themselves.
make a comment to that. I was just about to make a comment to that. Like, a lot of people don't want to deal with themselves anymore. Because I remember whenever you go through something, what I've learned in life is at some point you got to deal with it yourself. Because no one else, they can say, yeah, God bless you, and I'm going to pray for you, and everything's going to be all right. But at some point you got to sit by yourself and really deal with it. And I think a lot of people don't want to deal with it. So they just like bypass it. And then later on they wonder why they have some type of breakdown or something, because they never dealt with it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just that's how I feel
Yeah,
about it. Because they always looking for
absolutely.
likes, and I get people always say, well, you didn't like my picture, or you didn't like this. I didn't know I had to. I thought you were just trying to share it and let people see it. I mean,
I see a lot online of people going through personal struggles, whether it be a death in the family or a heartbreak or whatever situation, and they post to social media asking for, basically really asking for someone to validate their pain. And when they turn the computer off, the pain is still there.
It is.
And I look at it sometimes, and some of my friends on Facebook and social Instagram, it's like, what do you really want here? Do you want to fix this thing?
Exactly.
Or do you just want somebody to put a Band-Aid on it with an okay or a like? Because I don't like a lot of that stuff. I look at it and I'm like,
I won't feed into it either.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I won't feed
If something's happened and it's bad for me, I don't want to hear. Me personally, I don't want to hear no noise. Just
I'd rather reach out to them in the inbox.
if you're really my friend and you know me, you know how to get in contact with me.
Yeah.
But if you're everyone else, hey, feel bad for you, and I'm sorry. I'm probably not gonna read that.
Yeah.
Because I'm too emotional to think about it.
So honestly, all this kind of flows right into the next thing I was going to get into is that dating and being that person that needs that release of emotions sometimes, or maybe release of their thought process and things like that. And that's why we talk about writing as therapy. But how is it when you're dating and you have something that you share with your mate, or that you want to share with your mate, and like we talked about online, looking for that sympathy or empathy? How about when you have your creative side and you share with your mate? How does that affect you? How does that, I guess, connect to the person that you're currently dating if they don't like it? Or
do you share it?
do you share? Or
Do you share?
do you share?
I'm gonna say something. I probably won't, because that's your space, and that's yes. Music and poetry. That's really you. It's not just you're just writing something. That connects with you, and it's not always about sharing with somebody else. Sometimes it's just, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is like my time stamp, my time capsule. This is my therapy. I'm getting this out.
But is it because you don't trust that person's response, or you don't trust your creativity? Which one is it? Or you're insecure about your creativity? Which one is it?
I won't say I'm insecure. It's about me. It's not more about, am I looking for judgment on it, or if you're gonna like it or not. Most of the people that hear things that I do, they like it. They love it most of the time. But I don't do it for that. I do it because it makes me feel good and I enjoy it. It's about a feeling for me. It's not about.
So when is that one personal? We all have that one person. So what you think?
I gotta share it.
What you got?
Like, you gotta know that I'm into poetry. You gotta hear my pieces. You ain't gotta agree. You ain't gotta like them. You can critique them all you want to, but we gotta share that thing. Like you gotta hear my feelings through music. On my playlist, we gotta share playlists. Like it's gotta be all that. Like you gotta be involved.
But what is it? And then you have to ask yourself, what is it between you and that person that I don't want to share this with you?
That's what I'm trying to understand.
That's a partner when you don't want to share a piece of that's a
That's
piece
a
of
piece
you,
of
a
me.
piece of yourself. With them, what is this?
So I've heard it similar when I've talked to other poets that are insecure about sharing their piece, or not even their piece. I've talked to creatives that do artwork. I've talked to people who do all types of things. It's similar to getting naked in front of someone for the first time. You want the lights off. You want to set the mood. You want to make it a certain way. And that's just how I understand it for most creatives when they have to discuss something. It may be like I said, it may be artwork. It may be something as simple as craft. It may be something as far as maybe something business that you want to get into. You have to make sure the mood is right for certain people. But then it kind of goes back to Clear Vision's point. It's like, what does it say about you if you don't feel confident about sharing it? Not about your piece, or not about your body of work, but what does it feel about you and that person? And that's the thing about relationships when I talk about writing therapy. If you're part of something that you don't feel that confident in to share your inner work, then how do you critique that relationship then? Like, I don't know. I've felt that way before, but it makes me think, then should you be in that relationship? And should we judge relationships by that? What do y'all think? Should we judge relationships by being able to share your inner...
What's the timing? What's the timing when you do that?
Day one. Day one. If I'm not mistaken, if you meet somebody day one, you talk about what you like. I mean, I like poetry, I like comedy, I like all live type of stuff. So from day one, we might even talk about movies and TV shows I watch, because they're things that pertain to me. Now, I meet somebody they like Real Housewives, and no disrespect to Real Housewives of wherever the hell y'all from. That to me, and this is kind of more of how I look at life. If you're taking in on your downtime things like that, that means that's part of your psyche, part of your mental, part of your thought process. that means we might not work out, because I look at that as being disgusting in a sense of I don't want that to be what I learn or listen to when my subconscious is like, on and my conscious is off, but my subconscious still can hear that nonsense. So that's just something that I do personally, but some people do different things. Some people listen to different things, and that's just how it is. So that's how I look at the situation. I can't really connect to something like that. And don't worry, we went down, but we're still on the main camera. But I mean, that's how I look at it. What do you guys think as far as connecting with people that have the same thought process? I say day one. What do you guys say?
I don't know about day one.
Yeah.
I can tell you what I like.
I think it takes a little while.
Yeah.
I mean, I can connect with
day one.
other people that do what I do,
Right.
Yeah.
but for me to like any outside people, it would take a little while because I don't know exactly where if I really want to, if I trust you with that. You
And
know what
some
I mean?
people are not their true selves when you first meet
Yeah.
them.
Absolutely
They
not.
play a role.
That's why I asked them the time.
That's
What
a
time frame
role.
are we talking?
Yeah, that
We're
is
talking
a
right
role
away. Then
Need
sometimes.
somebody's representative. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not mistaken, though, I mean, don't you guys ask questions and kind of get an idea? I mean, you do connect with someone, so you kind of have to ask some questions to get an idea of who they are. So doesn't that tell you from right there, like, if I'll even be interested in going any further with this person?
Well, you can't get all that in day
But
one.
then you can't show them all your personal things that you got hidden inside of you and just give it to them right away. Like, hey, here you go. This is what I like. This is everything.
I mean,
But the thing is, I
Other than that,
remember,
what you get to
I
earn
remember
later.
smoking to a person that likes to talk. I like to talk.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't hear yourself all the time, but you give out so much information
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that other person will be like, well, oh yeah, I like that too. And let me, but they're taking your ideas
Yeah.
and using them, but you don't get
You
it
don't
at
get it.
first. Yeah.
And that way they try to, now you have all the same interests.
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it that people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's, I hate to say it this way because I ain't trying to call nobody out, but then is your personal, I guess your creative side, is that a representative then too? Because if you can't show that all the time, then is it when you do have that creative side, is that like a representative for yourself? Like, how you say you meet somebody, you meet their representative, and then, so is the creative side of you your representative, or is the side that doesn't show the creative side you the representative?
I think we always show our creative side. As creatives, you see it on the outside.
Right.
And you walk up to somebody, you can tell, well, not all the time, but you can
A
tell
lot
by
of
their
times you can
movement
tell.
and how they dress and how they
Yeah.
move that they have a creative side. And how deep I let you get into that,
Mhm.
I'm not doing it on day one. I have to see you. I have to see your truth in that part. Like if I take you to a poetry spot and you sitting there stiff, and you done told me that you're into poetry and you have all these pieces, I'm gonna look at you like you're a liar.
Right.
Because you can't function in that environment and your spirit is not moving in the same way. So I'm not going to give you my inner secrets with my pieces and stuff because you won't be able to handle it. It'll just be a lie. So I have to see how you move and to see you operate in your truth before I let you get that deep into me, and I can't do that on day one.
Interesting. What questions do you guys ask as a creative? Because I know like some people ask questions like, don't you have the subtle question too that you ask? Like, what's your purpose?
That's a lot of, yes. I was thinking about that on the way here. I'm like, dating sucks. Because you ask guys that and they're like, I don't know.
What is your purpose?
What you mean?
Like,
What do you
the hell
mean?
I mean, that's not a question
I mean-
you get every day. So I mean, forgive me for feeling a little.
But for me, I'm like,
But guess what
I
though?
need to know
That's
that.
such a unique question. Just imagine how you feel when someone actually answers it correctly.
when I first heard
That's
somebody
when you-
answer, I was like, oh,
Yeah, that's it. That's it because everybody can't answer that question. Everybody cannot.
yes.
I mean, I think if I heard it, what do you feel like what are you here for? I think I would feel differently than if you said, hey, what is your purpose? I think the way you put it is, I can think a different. I'm like, wait a minute, what's
What are you trying to think of a thinker that thinks already about that type of
Yeah,
stuff?
like
Knowing
they'll
their
be in the
purpose?
same wavelength at least. Like when what's that video that came out with Pastor what is
Oh, you
it?
talking about he birthed his wife, that video?
Well, she
Where his
birthed
wife,
him.
yeah, she birthed him.
Yeah.
John Gray.
John Gray, and I rocked with him all the way up until Pastor
him.
John Gray.
Yes.
He was on Wendy Williams, was it?
Was
What show was that?
The Circle. Is it Sister Circle?
Sister Circle?
Yeah,
Sister
Selena
Circle.
Johnson or somebody. Yeah.
Mhm.
So they ask him. Well, he goes into this thing about his wife and how she birthed him into who he is now. That she had to deal with basically all the pains, all the labor pains
Right.
of giving birth to him as a man, and she had to endure that and carry them. And while I used to rock with Pastor John Gray,
It was so much
Right.
that
better.
threw you off?
I've never
heard that.
yeah, it was just
Oh, you
eerie.
never?
No.
I've never heard of
He
that.
got so much backlash from women.
He did.
I've never
And
heard
then
that.
she came. Derek Jackson got on his tangent, and he's like, women should not have to endure the pain of birthing a grown ass man.
Right.
She shouldn't have to come from the root or grab him from the dirt and grow him up. So basically, and his wife came back. They're both on a dual, screen
going at him, but
video chat. She's going at him.
But he did make a good point. He had said he wasn't necessarily talking about that. Even though he brought up that situation, he wasn't necessarily talking about that.
Right. And I agreed with him, but she went in on Derek Jackson, and he's just standing, he's sitting back there like, he's trying to get a word in, and she's just going off. It rubbed me the wrong way. And when I ask guys, what is your purpose? If you can't answer that question or answer how you're supposed to get there, then you don't already have that seed planted. And if you ain't got a seed in yourself, then we ain't working. Because it's a simple question. It means that you have done your work, that you have healed from some things, and you know who you are, and you know how to move from that. If you can't do that, then we on the same wavelength. That's an instant turn off.
But I think that is that a little bit different than what you were talking about, like purpose compared to like somebody vibing with you creatively or somebody feeling your
Yeah.
work.
That's why I said.
You know what I'm
I
saying? Yeah,
different.
like
I
for
wouldn't
sure.
know
Like
what
you
you
need
mean
to
by
have
that.
vision or direction for sure. But I don't know. I feel like when it comes to creative things or just when it comes to aligning with people on certain topics, I feel like we all need to manage our expectations in relationships. Too many people are out there looking for somebody who's like exactly like them. They want to be with themselves. I want to be with me. Are
Right,
you just like
right.
me?
That's a good point.
And you have to manage that. So it's like, there are some interests my husband has that I don't, and vice versa. It's just some things we just, but we're different people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like people that you come
It
together
happens.
and you become this blob of one flesh thing.
It
That's
happens.
not real life.
Yeah, that's
And
Everything you like, I like.
Yeah, it's like
You're
some-
gonna clash heads.
we still
too.
cool. We're good.
Yeah.
But it's just like
But that
some
takes
things-
time though, because I look at that
And
and
I
it's
don't.
like, because like if you play, let's say you and your husband, or in a situation with somebody and y'all not totally different, but got some of the same likes. You want to do some of the same stuff, but then he's like, I play basketball on Mondays. I want you to come to the game. She's like, you know what? I don't like basketball. So now that support is not there because it's something that you don't like, but yet he wants you to be part of that. But then he gets his own space, and now in his own space, he finds other people that have the same interests. That always seems like I ain't gonna say dangerous. It just seems like an interesting way. Maybe if you're
like
not
a
secure.
threat. You feel like it's a threat?
I would say not a threat, but I'd say it puts you in
Opening
a
the door?
I don't know if it opens a door because you should. If you marry, you
Or is
shouldn't
it-
have any doors open. You know what?
Trying to see where you at. Is it a
Right.
crack in the door?
Is
Or
it exactly
a possible crack?
It can be anything that you're into that the other person's not into.
I think it's as long as you support them.
Yeah, you're support. You're not like
Emotionally,
talking to like you like basketball. I don't like it. Even if I don't enjoy it, I would still show up for the game. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, you're not
I
gonna
wouldn't
totally
be like a jerk.
You don't have to show up to
Yeah,
all the games,
right,
but
exactly.
at least you come to some of them. I
And,
think
It's about compromise.
It
Yeah,
is. It's about
absolutely.
compromise.
Is it really about compromise?
But at the same time,
somebody's losing.
I don't want-
Somebody's losing.
I don't want someone to go so far out themselves. Like, okay, if I'm doing something with music and I'm at the studio or something like that, and they like, yeah, and they just sitting there.
Right. I just don't. I
Yeah.
don't think that.
I don't want you to be there because I know it's not that I don't think that you're on the same level as me. It's just I know that's not what you're into. So I'd rather you be at home being comfortable than sitting here looking crazy because I want you to be here.
Right. I don't think that's fair to your partner.
Yeah.
And that's why people shouldn't put so much stock into like you're my mate and you need to be everything that I need. Like no, it's some things I do. But let me call him my homegirl for this movie. I know he don't want to see a movie like this.
Right.
You don't have to see this
Okay.
movie.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Loves.
I agree.
Because I'm not watching a rom-com. I'm not watching a romantic comedy. I'm not into that.
You
no.
know, like,
watching
right,
those.
but I'm
boring.
not going to be offended.
Unless, actually, let me say, yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna watch them. I'll be there with you, but I'm going to sleep. So I'm just letting you know. We was together.
Right.
We used together.
If I'm paying for the movies, we gonna see some action.
I need something to keep me
People are
up.
just so easily offended in their relationships. They're so like just controlling of the other person, and if and they feel like this is a reflection of how you feel about me because you don't want to spend time with me. It's not. I know you don't like painting, but I'm there. I'm painting. You should want to be with me, but that's not. It's not fair.
It's not
like
realistic.
it's not
It's
realistic,
not
and people can do that for you for a while. While you're dating in the beginning, when you have that new relationship energy, when you have all that stuff, then great. But as time goes on, it's like if this is something I'm really not interested in, please do not torture me and just make me.
I'm with you.
My love should not be reflected in. I made love is clear vision to death. But I mean, I like poetry like that.
Right.
But I love you.
But
Right.
But
yeah.
I'm
So
not
that leads me
into
right into my
that.
next point.
Uh-oh.
That leads me right into my next point right there. Just like we're talking about how we can still be separate people but have love for each other.
Right.
If you have a passion, and I'm gonna let you answer last because I think I know I want your answer last. And Twan, you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but I guess I'm gonna swing it to clear vision because I want to know something. You have this passion, this artwork, this art form that you do. You put in your time, just like a comedian puts in his time. I've hung around comedians, I've hung around artists, I've hung around all these different types of people. You put in your time. The support you need from your spouse, your whoever, your person that's. What if you don't get that? If you're like, hey, I'm about to go do another spot over here in Macon, and they're like, you know what? You keep doing that thing you're doing. That's your thing. That's not my thing. I'm not into it. But that's your passion. Now you know why I got you answered last, right?
I can talk for 5
No, I got you answered last because you do your thing.
I do.
You know what I'm saying? So what do you think about that? You're doing your thing, and that person that you're putting your time and energy into is not supporting it that way.
Well,
Is
I
it
don't
really
need your
support?
support.
That's why I was about to ask you. Is it
Yeah,
really support?
I don't need your
Okay.
support, but don't
disrespect
criticize
it.
and
Don't
disrespect what I do.
respect what I do, right?
But
Okay.
I
Respect
do
my
it
passion.
because I love doing it, not because of you.
Right.
So y'all not needing for the attention of that person to somewhat have some investment in what's
And
going
you know
on?
what? If they love you eventually, it's gonna come. Oh, can I go with you?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna come.
So y'all so damn grown and involved.
But what? Okay, so what? But what if it? I'm gonna switch that up. So what if it doesn't? So does that mean anything about that person?
No.
That just means that they may support you in everything else you do. That just means okay, that's your thing. So you continue to do your thing. If I come, cool. If I don't, it should be still cool.
Like this.
Unless I'm getting a grant.
You know how when you're with somebody
Then you show up.
and each person has their special place.
Yes.
That's hers. I'm gonna let her have
Absolutely.
her place.
Yeah.
That's her special place. You know, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But then also you got to look at it like, so some people will try to, that's your thing. And they'll try their best to be there for you. And sometimes they'll be trying to get a little too far in. I don't know if you know what I mean when I say
I know
that.
exactly what you mean.
Like, yes, you're supporting me, but at the same time, you still have to stay right there.
Right?
You can't come in too far because this is still my thing. This
That's my
is still
special
me.
thing. That's my space. Yeah.
You can't
What do you
take
mean?
this over.
What does that look like though? When you say come, because you do music, would they try to change the lyrics or something? Or like, what if they come in too close and try to do? What
you
is
hear that all the time. Like, oh, you should do this. Oh, you should change that up right there and do this. Oh, you know what you should do.
But now
You
they got
should
interest in what you're doing. You're creative. You're sharing your speech, your artwork, and now they have interest.
What's too much? When is okay? First, you're gonna say the first few times, okay, cool. Then you're like, okay, cool. I heard you that time. And how long are you gonna just continue to let them like keep suggesting? Like, look, okay, wait a minute. Now, I just wanted you to hear this idea. And every time I come in, you got something else to say about this, and this is not about you, really.
Mm-hmm.
So is
So
it
what's the
like,
line of suggestion and trying to push the envelope, in my opinion?
So is it kind of like, say you go to the studio all
Right.
the time,
Right.
and at a point in time you're like, hey, why don't you go with me? Or
Right.
she asks, oh, can I go with you? Yeah, and it's good.
Right.
But then the 2-3 times come about, oh, I'm going with you, and you're like, wait,
No.
because then you're starting to.
this is the
Does that make
privilege
sense?
that,
Yeah,
that
like,
you got
can
to
I-
come.
can I-
But
let me just-
all right, now you in my creative space a little
My
bit, so
boundary there.
it's
Right,
cool
it's
every
a
now and then.
boundary.
But
So once again, you're a creative. You got somebody in your creative space, and now it makes it seem almost as if, I guess, in a sense that
it turned into
You're
a us
shut-
activity and
No.
not.
well, it
not
seemed like you shutting the door.
No, you're like
creative and art.
boundaries.
Art
Yeah,
creative.
like boundaries. You don't have to
creative
be with
boundaries.
me
It has to be
all
a
the
boundary.
time. You know,
Oh,
like glued at the
Yeah,
hip.
what you got to say? Because I can only imagine. So that's what I'm going by. You, some of us are a little bit more needy. Okay, okay.
be involved. Like, gosh, the person that ideally I would be with would share that interest. If it's something that speaks to my heart, then I would want or desire for them to have that same type of interest, because I would want them to be involved. I would want their influence and I would want their support. Now, when you come into that part of me and you start smothering me, or maybe
Right,
you feel
this is
different
what-
about my craft, or you intrude or try
Absolutely.
to control me in that, or change me into something negative, not into something positive, or grow me in that. But when you try to negatively influence what I'm doing, then yeah, we have a problem. But I'm not gonna say I need you there, but I want my mate there. You ain't gotta be there all the time, but you gotta show up. And if someone wants to be like, yeah, look at you like, what you mean? We got a problem now. Because this is important to me. And if you're with me, then it should be, I want it to be important to you, because I don't do football like that. But if my man is playing, or if he's going, or if he's having an event, I'm going to be there.
Right.
I'm not going to be as heavily involved or invested, but if I'm invested in
Right.
him, then I'm going to show up.
Right.
So,
Okay. For those just tuned back in, sorry y'all went down technical difficulty, but we back up now. I see y'all text me like crazy, so I definitely appreciate y'all texting me, telling me, "Hey, check in there."
Is that support?
Shit looks
somebody cussing their husband out right now. It's a sign.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What y'all got? They talking about us, you know what I'm saying? So what we were talking about was about being connected to, as a creative, I guess, being connected to your spouse, your significant other, and involving them in your activities. And even if you take this from being a creative just to being someone who plays basketball and trying to involve your other person to your activities, how do you view that? And the reason, like I said, all this is connected because we talk about relationships, talk about writing is therapy, but I can do a deep dive, obviously, with people that are creative and that write, because it kind of gets more vocal as we see. Now, myself personally, I think I'm a little bit more needy of a person, and that might have a lot to do with me being a Leo. So I look at it like this, like if I'm doing something, I want that person to be a part of it, you know. And then I guess, as LM was saying, it all depends on what it is they're going to be, how much they'll have, how much input they'll have. Because it's okay to be a part of what I'm doing, but then when you start trying to critique what I'm doing, take away from my artistry, it messes up things. And as Autumn was saying, it's like she wants them to be involved to a point, maybe not completely like changing or making things happen, but wants them to be involved. And as Clear Vision was saying, I guess it all just depends that she has a passion for it, so she's going to go for it. Her mate doesn't necessarily have to be there all the time, but they will eventually come around. That's why it brings me to Latoya. Because Latoya actually does a actual entire show, very creative, puts a lot of energy into it, and if you get a chance, definitely check her out, Latoya K. On Facebook. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So definitely check her Facebook Live show that shows every Wednesday at.
Well, no, it varies.
It varies. Okay,
Yeah, so
check out her page.
Check out her page. Exactly.
Just look for the
Depending
post.
on how I'm feeling.
So tell me about how you deal with your passion and what you do, because you are fully into it, and tell me how it is with, you being the more into what you do, and then you have the spouse. How does that work out?
So my husband, he is involved, but like behind the scenes.
Okay.
And I appreciate that.
That's space. That's your
I
space.
enjoy that. You
Okay.
know, him and his being supportive is just making sure I have everything I need. Make sure the kids are on my hair. That's being supportive. Just taking
true.
them upstairs and keeping them there
Okay.
so that I can record and they don't jump in. Making sure I got my glass of wine poured like that. So he is supportive. He is supportive. However, sometimes it can cause a little bit of tension, and enlightened as I would like to consider myself, sometimes it's just like, well, did you watch my video? Like if he was up there and he didn't see it and he's like, well, no, I'm like, why haven't you watched my video? Were you on social? So sometimes it can get weird, but for the most part, like I said, we have like different interests. Mm-hmm. And I just manage my expectations, and so like say
that again.
Manage them because I know he loves me. I know he's there for me. He's supportive in his own way, But sometimes he wants to watch the game. I remember one time I did a live on a Monday night. He's like,
football.
The Packers play tonight. He's like, the Packers play tonight. What was that? Like, why would you? How dare you?
Or I'll be there and I'm watching the score.
Right. But he still came back and forth. But I mean, ultimately, I feel like, in couples need to be individuals. And that's where people go wrong. That's what affects the longevity of a relationship is the inability to see a person that you're with as an individual. And to internalize there being an individual. And I mean like on every level. Emotionally, they're an individual. Like sometimes they're going through something. It don't have anything to do with you. Mm-hmm. Everybody comes to the table with their own demons. Everybody comes to the table with their stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you have to recognize that and not make it so much about me.
You have to accept it.
You have to accept it. And when you really love a person, when you have a radical acceptance of a person that you're with, you just love on them. And you're compassionate and you think about them and you consider them. You consider things like, if you don't really like music, I don't want you coming forcing yourself to come to the studio with me.
Right.
Every now and then when you come, it's like, oh, that's cool. She coming. You know what I'm saying? It's a treat.
It's a treat.
But I don't feel that your love is attached to your level of involvement in my thing as an individual. The same thing with him. Like I may get irritated here and there, but for the most part, it's like this is my thing.
Yeah.
This is mine.
Yes.
And he has his things. And that's his, and it's okay. And to speak to your point earlier about it being, potentially some type of threat, you just have to be secure in yourself in a relationship. Like you can't be you will never be everything to anybody. You will never be just everything a woman needs ever in your life. There's always going to be somebody, taller, more handsome, more this, more that. But you can't think about that. You have to be like,
you can't?
You can't.
That's because you're already taller.
You shouldn't.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you should.
You don't have control over it. It's nothing.
That's who you are.
Right. You don't have control over it. Look, a relationship, and I love to say this is like my favorite way to like conceptualize relationships is two people cooperating. Like you getting married, you doing all it doesn't. I can't make you do nothing. We have made a decision to cooperate.
Right.
With each other. You cooperate with me, and I'm gonna cooperate with you. and that's a great relationship. That's a great relationship right there. And sometimes
cooperate with you.
Part of that cooperation is understanding like I don't really like doing this. But my friend does. And when it comes to this particular thing, I'm doing it with my friend. You don't have to do that with me. And it really takes a lot of pressure off of the person that you're with. And it makes the relationship a lot more comfortable, really. At first it's scary because we have, this Disney concept of like, oh, we must always be let's walk down the street with our hands in each other's pockets and all that dumb stuff. You know what I'm saying? You start to smother and then y'all start to hate each other. And you don't know why. I don't know why I hate you so much.
Oh God!
Put that hand in your back pocket.
What you
doing?
That shit was cute.
Do it.
That's puppy love. That's that good stuff.
It is, but it can
Good side of the booty.
But after a while, he'd be like, "All right,
you have to go to class,
dude. I just got out the dressing room, man. Hold on, man.
It's tired.
I like that.
Yes, you get
Oh
tired.
my gosh. So I guess in a sense, so it's levels to this is what we're noticing. And the reason, like I said, I'm thinking about the creative types is that we write based on sometimes our pain, our pleasure, or whatever it is. So it's interesting when you have like LaToya who's gotten to those levels. But for someone who is not to those levels, you get a little insecure. You're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, where you going right now? It's third quarter. Why you leaving? I'm gonna free throw line. Where you going? Like,
You ready to start the car up?
but
I got the turbo started. What you doing?
exactly. So it's so interesting when you hear that stuff because some key points that were brought up. That this is why I got Latoya on because she brings these great key points on. Your security level with not necessarily with your mate, but with yourself. Being secure with who you are. That opens up a door to probably a little bit of better ways you can deal with someone. A lot of key things that you guys probably know or don't know is that the better you understand yourself, the better you understand others outside of you. So I guess another way to put that is Les Brown says this, that African proverb that if there's no devil within, there cannot be any devil with outside of you. Meaning that once you're able to conquer everything within inside of you, your security level, your ability to get over maybe, I don't know, anything you're dealing with, then dealing with someone else, like a mate, makes it easier. Because you can hear the confidence in Latoya's voice, and you can not hear the confidence in mine.
The first step is to get that understanding, so you're on your way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm good though. I'm single, so.
Great.
I'm awesome. What are you talking about? Another point I want to get to, because that was some key stuff right there, is about how we look at our pieces, how we look at our art form, our work. And the reason I bring that up is because we all have changed over the years, obviously. You know, when we're younger, we write things and say things that in this day and age now with social media, they can go back and do one of these long scrolls and be like, he said this back in 2001 about white people. He said this in 2002 about Chinese folks. How do you guys feel as your creative stuff that you put out there being critiqued? Because it's tracked, it's recorded, it's out there. But how do you feel as you're writing your therapy, your the way you blog, the way you do what you do, but now it's out there, and the thought process you may have had at 29, you don't have at 39.
Right.
You know, so let me start with you, Autumn.
I love it. I love being able to put it out there and it stick, whether I erase it or not, it's still there. You know, don't go nowhere if that footprint is there. I love looking over my daily, what do you call it, the daily memories or whatever, when it snaps.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Shared memories. Because I see my growth, I see things that I went through during whatever time. And whatever I was going through, I can reflect back on that and I can either laugh about it or see, you know, how I've progressed since then. But I love it. I love the photos, and I don't care if I get a single like.
Right.
Because there's some pictures that I have on there that I haven't saved anywhere else, but they're on Facebook. So those memories are forever there. People who have, I've had some people come to me when I've expressed myself about a relationship in a negative way and just vented. They come to me and said, you know, basically, I remember when you were going through this and now you're going through this, or you said that before and now you're saying this. It's like you're getting a whole snapshot of who I am. You love it or you don't. Either way, it's there and it's the truth. And it'll show you who I am, how I've grown, how I've not grown, or whatever that is. It's there.
Right.
You deal with it.
What about you, Swan?
I think it could be beneficial, like she said, it's a footprint. At least it's something that you can see where you were, and those are good things when you're on Facebook and it comes up like you put this 5 years ago. You're like, oh, wait a minute, I forgot about that. A little bit more self-reflection. I don't think that's always a bad thing. I think it's a pretty good thing.
How about you, Clear Vision?
I feel the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to, I mean, knowing that it's out there, it's still helping someone.
Yeah.
Because there's always in life someone that is there now
Yeah.
where you were.
Yeah.
True.
So it's never for nothing.
The one thing I think about
Yeah.
I love your
poetry.
intensity in your eyes.
Oh,
You
I'm
can feel it. I'm like, you mean
The
that.
one thing I think about poetry and music and songs and different things like that is I think the way that the person that's writing it is viewing it, if you put it out there, other people don't see it the same way that you've seen it. Like for instance, if you've heard a song before and you listen to the lyrics and you would have thought that this was talking about love or this is talking about their mate. And later on you found out it was talking about like a dog or something like that.
Right.
But that's just the way you interpret it. See, that's the one thing about when you put your works out there, they may not enjoy it because they don't know exactly what you meant by that. They just know it by what they interpreted as, what they wanted, what it was to them when they heard it. So, I mean, that's one thing I always think about art is that sometimes it's just misinterpreted by someone else if they don't know how you were feeling.
What about you, Tway?
I love it. I feel like it's so important to be as honest and as transparent as possible because it gives you power. So like in a lot of my lives, I'll talk about, like, I've been married 3 times. I talk about that. And it's not anything I'm proud of.
Facing it.
I'm not proud of that.
There's a charm.
I'm not proud of it,
Am I the only one that's not like that?
You're not proud of it, but you're not embarrassed.
I'm not
scared.
It's
You're not
part
running
of
from it either.
Because it's a part of you. It's a part of your
It
world.
shaped
Yeah.
me as a person. It shaped
Absolutely.
my opinions. And it really, to me, I started sharing that with my audience because I feel like it gives them context, like of me and, why I think the way that I do. And then also just like as a mother, I just remember like growing up, people telling me embarrassing things about my parents to just try that they had never told me. Like people would use that to take, to hurt you.
Yeah.
And they were trying to like hurt my parents by like telling me something that I didn't know.
They didn't share with you.
Exactly. I don't want my kids to have to go through that. I have people who, their kids don't even know. Everybody knows but the kid that's not their dad. And that's hard. And then it comes up later and they're like devastated. Like I'm all about like preventative actions and being like as powerful as possible and making it like really hard for people to get me.
Put it out on the table.
Really hard.
Put it all out there.
Exactly.
So sharing your truth.
Exactly,
From
especially
your
with me
perspective.
going out, like, speaking on spirituality. I'm trying to do weddings and things like that. And I don't want, well, how you know, you've been married, what you know about marriage, how you gonna counsel me? And you've been, no, I'm sharing this with you. Yes, this was part of my journey.
I'm
Yes,
sharing my truth.
I'm sharing my truth with you.
Yes.
And this is what I've learned making all these, I don't even want to call them mistakes.
mistakes.
Like
No, they're
all
not
these
mistakes.
like
No.
different
Learning.
twists and turns,
Learning.
in my road. But that was just like part of like, everybody has their cup, and that was just like part of my cup. And it's like without those things, I don't know, I might be on the Housewives someplace. Seriously, without those experiences, I may not have been humble, and I may be like, on a chick like that on one of those shows because I have potential for that, like mentally. You know what I'm saying? I did, low key, like for real. I had potential.
Exactly.
Mean
That's
girl.
why I still
all
more
that
at you for no reason. Like, how dare you, Twan? Like, what I do?
and selfish, and but when you go through things like that and you get humble like that, it changes you. Like you are
Which it
able
should.
to be empathetic and assume different perspectives because you like, you never know what a person is going through. I remember being in places in my life where people were really judgmental of me. And it's like, you don't know what I was going through. Do y'all know that during this time XYZ was happening? And so like I'm always sensitive to that. But without those experiences, I wouldn't be who I am. So I try to be as honest as possible. So even though I'll like scroll back some of the things I've said or whatever, I may cringe like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, it happened. I could talk about it or not talk about it. That doesn't mean, it doesn't stop it from having, it has already occurred.
Did you cringe because it was wrong, or
cringe
because you
is,
think
like,
about
terrible.
it differently from that day?
I just
Since that day?
think differently. You evolve. Like you were
Yeah,
talking about,
you
just
do.
like evolution. Like I look back
Right.
at my pictures with me with my little Mary J. blonde, and I'm like, Lord, I used to have this little wig
Did
thing.
you dance like Mary J. too?
Man,
What's the thing?
everybody look at
The
me
kick
now with my natural hair and all. It's like I wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know I had curly hair. I didn't know. I found this out about 3 years ago.
So I wonder, like, for us, how, I think for everyone else out there, how much do you think of, like, so I'll give you an example. For me, I got a lot of stuff that I used to put on Facebook, and I entertain the hell out of myself. I used to post things that I go back and be like, damn, you funny, brother. Because I thought they were. So it just makes me wonder, like, everyone else kind of posts. We talked about empathy versus sympathy earlier. But it just makes me wonder, like, when you look back at yourself and you see your growth, you see exactly where you've come from, how much that affects you. I wonder how much that'll affect the next generation, because we're one of the first generations, well, not really first generations, because if you think about it, they were hieroglyphics, but now we have actual digital, moving, visual imagery that we can see, audio, visual, and someone can see your personality, your body language on everything. Even this, what we're doing right now. I know it could be 10, 15 years from now. My kids will be watching this going, what was Daddy talking about?
Right.
You know, and was it, you know, how do you guys feel knowing that your artwork, your pieces are pretty much now in this generation, timeless? It's not as if no one's going to ever, your stuff will be seen by your grandkids.
Right.
Because we have the ability now in this particular generation. It's not like back in the 50s or back in the 40s where you had to search and find maybe material. Like, I don't know about any open mic sessions they had in Harlem. We're not going to see video of that.
Right.
You know, we don't know who inspired Langston Hughes to write what he wrote.
Right.
We don't know who did all that stuff, you know? But now we'll know from what we talk about here how other people were, you know, exposed to what we do. We'll know on social media how people were exposed to what we may have said, what went viral, and what caused this. I can listen to a rap song and know, oh, he's talking about that one video that went viral. We're talking about this one thing. And you can sit there and be like, wow, how this one person that was small impacted somebody else, and then that impacted somebody else. Like, how do you guys feel knowing that the words you use today, the content, who you are today is timeless? Like, it's going to be seen pretty much forever. How do y'all feel about that? Especially when you talk about your art and stuff like that.
I mean, art is special. Being creative, you're not like anybody else. So that's the number one thing you think about when you're writing or when you're being creative or doing anything. Is that I'm not a normal person. The things that I'm writing about, this is my perspective. No one has this perspective. They may come close, but I'm like an asterisk. That's basically how I think about it when I do my music. And you have to think like that. It's not that you're better than everybody else, but you do have to feel like, okay, the way that I deliver it is I'm the only one that can do it this way.
So to your point about music,
Okay.
now the reason I bring this up,
Okay.
because I always think about artists that have these one-hit wonders. And I think about what song made them popular. It's not their whole entire body of work.
Right.
So let's say you are a 85-year-old grandma. Back in the day, grandma.
Me?
Back in, okay.
All right, grandma.
Let's just say you're 85-year-old grandma.
I'll play along. Grandma.
Used to be in the music business.
Okay.
Your number one song back in the day. I'm talking about back what made you the hit. It was a one-hit wonder.
Gotcha.
Was My Neck, My Back. That's your jam. How does that make you feel now, knowing that you're that 80-year-old woman, but you can, like, we're talking about, what's her name? Kaya, is that her name?
Yeah, Kaya.
That was a number one hit
It
song.
was.
But I wonder how that's going to play for her. That's her artwork. Does that pretty much define her when she hits 80? Like, well, that's that same.
For the masses, yes. For the masses, yes. That's because no one knew her outside of, I knew who she was because I come down south all the time.
Yeah.
But outside of that, no one knew anything about the K-Wang and all of that stuff from, if you were moving up north. But yes, that's going to be her legacy. Whenever someone thinks about her, they're like,
They're
yeah,
gonna
Kaya.
think about
And you
this.
know, my neck, my back. Yeah.
And I can speak to that like really, really strongly because and this is why it's so important to embrace everything you do and go at it. Like, don't do stuff you don't believe in.
Right.
If that's who you were and you were into that, believe in it. But like my aunts were in a group called Hoes with Attitudes, and that was back.
I remember that group.
Yes, yeah. Two of them were my aunts. They were my father's sisters.
Yeah.
And I don't know when this was, early '90s. They were like under Eazy-E.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
So it
It
was his thing. Yeah, like so Eazy-E, NWA. He had HWA. It was Hoes with Attitudes. I remember specifically watching the box. And it was a video where he was spraying water on the women, and they were standing on the thing, and the one who raised up her shirt was my auntie. But let me tell you about my auntie, okay?
Y'all, you do
Don't
know
judge my
right
family.
now everybody's about to go look at that
Don't
video.
But let me tell you something. This woman is, I don't know, in her 50s now, and she is totally embracing of her past.
Really?
She got the framed pictures in her of her turned around with a thong on, and in her living room. Her kids are
Well, as a
not.
man, she
Anybody else like, yo,
but I'm just saying.
And she has all sons. She doesn't even have a daughter. She has all
Oh,
sons,
wow.
and they're
Yeah.
saying this.
So if they're
but
bringing their friends over.
right? And right,
your mom?
exactly.
was too thick.
She was so authentic in that time. Like, that's who she was.
That was her artwork.
She was a hoe with an attitude, and
Yeah.
she's okay with that. That was her art, and to this day, she embraces it. Like, she's trying to come out with a reality show right now.
Okay.
That's just like that's just who she was. But if I'm out there doing something that I didn't feel passionate about, and I didn't believe in it, and then
It's time capsuled.
that's different. Like if Kaya, she didn't even write that song. She didn't
Right.
want to wear that outfit.
Yeah.
They wrote it for her. They told her what to wear. She was crying. She was, doing coke behind it coming out, like
Yeah.
forcing herself. Then that's different. So it's different. So
But
it's
it's plenty
it's about
that
being
happen like
authentic.
that.
Exactly.
There's plenty of them that have been
Exactly.
out
We
there.
have
They
to have
didn't want to come out
boundaries.
that way, but the record company is like, oh yeah, you're gonna work with this producer and you're gonna make that song, and the song was a hit,
Yeah.
and it just wasn't them.
Mm-hmm.
And you normally can tell later on down the line when they start making the music they want to make, which wasn't as popular. They're like, I don't care, but I'm happy.
Right.
So that kind of makes me think that what happens then with us here, and we do something that gets picked up by the masses, that is not our best body of work, but that's what people know us for. Isn't that be interesting as a creative to be
double-edged.
doing something?
Yeah.
It's a double edged.
Yeah.
It's a double edged sword because you're thinking like, okay, well, I've captured the audience, I've captured the attention, but at the same time, is it that they want to us just to stick with that particular subject or that particular thing, or are they willing to grow with everything that we were intending to put out there?
That's true.
That's
And,
good.
and the society
So
we're
you
in
have
now
to-
is like
you have to
microwave.
make a decision. It's
gotta be
hey,
quick.
do I want to keep being? Do I want to take a chance and just do what I want to do, or do I want to stick with what my audience is, where I know that they're going to be what they like and what they
Yeah.
want us to put out there? So
Yeah, society we live in now is kind of quick. Like things that come up, and that's why I like going to live poetry, because I get a chance to see, in comedy at the same time too, I get a chance to see someone develop that piece over and
Yeah,
over
yeah.
and over again,
Yes.
versus that one hit wonder that comes out that gets the attention of the masses. That's why I love going to see creative things, because I can see someone deliver the same exact joke 1,500 different ways.
Right.
Yes.
Different. Yes.
And it makes me
Yes.
laugh every time,
Yes.
because now I'm thinking about how they're doing it. And that's why I kind of trust more of the creative side, and that's versus the music side, because sometimes, like you say, it's not something that you wrote. Someone else made you write that.
Right.
They're songwriters.
Yeah.
But when you up there and you're giving your piece and you're giving your own, self into something, and I can see you make a mistake, that becomes so real to me. That becomes so much more of a connection for me, because if I can see your flaws, then I can understand if I understand my flaws, then I can obviously see yours and respect them and somewhat maybe empathize with them.
Yeah.
it's like a band playing live versus playing with the music.
Exactly.
That's why people appreciate the live more, because now I feel like I'm you.
Yeah.
Oh, he made a mistake. I'm fine with that because he was out there playing live in front of us and it wasn't a recording. So you feel more of a connection that way.
And it kind of brings me to my next question here, and Miko kind of got into it too before I got to it, but you were talking about Toya being humble, and kind of with us here, and we kind of alluded to it a little bit about doing our own thing in front of people for the first time. So Clear Vision, I'll come to you first and say, were you ever shy or nervous? And I kind of want to flip the question a little bit, because I always think that most creative people when they were younger, they were super shy. For some reason, I always think that they were super shy when they were younger, and someone gave them the battery in their back to say, you should do this, and they went full force with it. Because when you do things like this, for example, or you do things like go in front of a stage, you have to be, one, ready to be a loner, and then you also have to be ready to be criticized,
Yeah, you gotta be.
and you gotta be a little bit crazy.
For sure. That's a great observation. That's so true.
Yeah, you gotta be a little bit crazy, and honestly, I say this, and maybe it's Leo I say this, but you also have to be a little bit cocky and confident about it.
You do.
Like, you really have to trust what you do, is that's what you want to do. I have a lot of people always say, "What you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing this."
If I don't get
you know,
any claps,
I don't
I'm
care.
fine.
Exactly. I
Because
don't
I'm
care.
happy with what I put out there.
So, were you ever shy originally or nervous? So it's like a two-part question. Were you ever shy as a kid? And then now, or in your first time going out, were you ever nervous to go up your first time and have to actually spit?
Yes, I was shy as a kid.
Okay.
I was to get out there because I was worried about what people would
What they
think
would
when
think,
I was
yeah.
younger,
Criticism.
But my first time with poetry and spoken word and going up there, my hands were like, And for some reason, you just can't. But in your mind, you like, I'm good. But then your
body's just
it's saying
that's your
something
adrenaline.
that's
That's all it is.
That fight or flight.
wrong.
Like, I'm up here, but I'm
But
shaking.
then that rush.
Yeah.
After you're done, you feel proud for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember telling my mom, I didn't see anybody.
Exactly. You don't see anything.
Like
but
I went
lights.
blank. Like I didn't see anybody's
It's light.
faces, just their interaction. Nothing. I didn't
Yes.
see anything, and that's why I was proud of myself because I wasn't worried about that. I was just putting myself out there and proud that I did that for me.
You know what that's called? That's called flow. You
Mm-hmm.
flow. You know, you're just all in here. You're not tuned into all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think after your first, and you let me know if I'm right, after your first few words come out, I think it gets a little bit easier. Once you finally open your mouth and get the first few words out, then it kind of like flows after that.
So what about you, Ellen? Because I know you got music going on. So what was your first time having to actually showcase a beat or have your beats played?
I've been doing that since I was 12. I still
Okay.
get nervous. I'm
Really?
42 now. I'm
Yeah.
still every time I play a beat for anybody, a group of people, a room, somebody's always like, "Hey, go ahead and play your beats, man." They. And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay, go ahead, put it in." I'll go find me a little spot. Like they'll be over here. I'll just look around and I'll just wait for the reaction, and I hear them as soon as it comes on. Ooh, and I'm like, "Okay, cool." I'll wait till they talk to me because it might just be one person saying,
Yeah.
"Dude, that's pretty hot right there." Then I'll start to like warm up. But other than that, I'm not that dude that's gonna be like, "Yeah, man, I got that 5 for you right there. Hey, put it in
Right.
that number 3 right there." I'm not that dude.
Yeah.
I'm very humble when it comes to that because
Okay.
everyone's opinion is different. So
What about you, Autumn?
Yeah, I was super shy. I was very, 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 very shy. I don't think I started really communicating with people and making friends in college. I was just very, very shy. And it wasn't because I was afraid. It was because I felt like I had so much bottled up that, and it was so personal to me that I didn't want to share it. And it was like I was always on full with my emotion. And so when I did poetry, a lot of those emotions were very sensual. And with me being so shy and so unknown to everyone, I was afraid to let that out. I'm like, I was concerned about what people think about some of the stuff I wanted to say. And it's things I wanted to say and necessarily shouldn't have said. Well, by society standards, should not have said at my age. So going down to, I forget the name of this cafe, it was downtown Peachtree over Underground. And my aunt took me down there. She was a poet. Shout out to Sha. And she didn't know the piece. I didn't tell anyone. It was very, very sensual. I don't think she even knew I could speak those words because I was so shy. But like I said,
what words you spoke that?
I think I still got that poem somewhere.
Ooh.
But I was shaking. And the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like at their running start. I'm seeing other poets go. I'm like, okay, I can do this. But they ain't talking about what I want to talk about. And I'm the youngest one in there. And all I'm hearing is laughter and everybody else, doing their thing, but it's all in slow motion. My heart just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I ain't doing this tonight. I'll come back next week. Come back next week, man. Get some girl woman juice in. I went up there and it was like the light was just so bright. I couldn't see nobody. I'm like, where the hell did everybody go? But it was like, say your first words, just get it out. I got it out, and from then it was just, I was in. I was in. And I was so proud to do that. And since then, it was just like, you got something to say it. Somebody wants to hear it. Because the reaction I got, I didn't hear the crowd cheer till after I finished. And it was like, I woke up and saw them cheering. I'm like, wow.
That's
And then you're
exactly how it
like,
is.
what just happened?
That's
It's
for
like, I
me?
didn't even.
That's to me, because I ain't.
Because in your
I
head,
didn't
you're like,
want that. I didn't care
I
about
finished.
that.
Right, I finished.
Yeah.
I did
I finished the
I did
race.
it.
Yeah.
So the opinions come later, but that's what you feel like. Ooh, I
He
accomplished
was
it.
like,
I
you
did
did good.
that.
I'm like, okay, thank you. Let me sit down.
Yeah.
For you.
Glad you like it.
Hey.
Toya, how about you?
Oh, I'm always shy. I'm a very nervous, anxious person. Always.
Really?
All the time.
I will get that.
All the
Right.
time. All the time.
Ah.
Especially like kind of like one-on-one interactions. Like I can talk to people, but I'm just kind of like, okay, well, it's not even like it's not an interesting conversation, But that's just my psychology. Like I've always been that way, and there are some things that I have not overcome. Like I feel confident in speaking. I feel in control when I speak, but I can sing. I will
you
not
can.
sing. I will not. I won't do karaoke. I won't do nothing. Okay, and
And why is that?
I have like such bad anxiety that I can't even like. I don't feel like I have any control over my voice, and it's just too embarrassing. My father was a preacher, and he used to, travel from church to church, and they used to always, Toya, get up, sing your song. So every church we went to, I had to stand there.
You
and
was
sing my song.
traumatized. That's what happened.
And I know why. Like, I get it, because my mom was like low-key kind of like a stage mom, and then my dad was this dynamic speaker, and they're just like, oh, you have this talent. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You get up there and you do it. But what happened is I was doing it, and I messed up over and over and over again as a child. And it was just like so traumatizing to me that as soon as I had a choice, I could tell somebody, hell no, I'm not singing. Every time, nope, you're going to say no. So there, like I said, I'm always nervous. This I feel confident about, but there are some things I'm still working on. I eventually want to be able to, I don't want to be a singer, but I at least want to be able to do karaoke. Like, why can't I even do
you don't need to do karaoke.
I don't care. I will be
Whoa.
crying. I don't take it so
You
seriously.
got to be
No,
serious about
I
karaoke.
know.
So Carrie just said it's addictive. Performing arts, poetry, singing, speaking, it's an addictive rush of personal expression. And that's just for herself. So I can see where that comes from. Before I even tell you about my first time or being in front of a crowd, introvert or extrovert?
Really?
I want to know. Are you more outgoing or are you more recluse and keep to yourself?
I think I'm more outgoing.
Okay. Extrovert. How about you? Introvert or Introvert. So your energy necessarily doesn't come from being around people. It comes from being by yourself.
I get drained by being around.
You get drained.
I get drained by it.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Autumn, introvert, extrovert.
Yeah, I am. I don't know how to answer that because
You can be a
I don't
portion.
think I do.
You can be a portion of something because you get energy from
Yeah.
things.
It just depends on the vibe of where I am. I can be extremely extroverted, and people think that I'm like that all the time. But I have to withdraw. That's how I recharge.
Okay.
Yes, I don't know.
Introvert, extrovert.
It's the same bit of
Yeah.
both. I can't put myself in just one box.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
I understand that. Well, I've been an extrovert all of my life.
I've seen some.
I came out the womb and smacked the doctor's ass. That's just how I've always been. As we're talking about being shy, it's just something I guess I've never ever had. I did a lot of public speaking in kindergarten, in 8th grade, in high school. I used to do the speaking and stuff like that. I was always someone that did not mind talking to a group of people. That's why I do what I do now, but it was also, there are levels to it. So like, oh yeah, I don't mind talking to my class, but now you want you to talk to the entire auditorium at age, 10, oh no, that might not work.
Right.
Get to high school, oh no, I don't mind talking to the entire school, but now you want me to speak to the entire conference? Oh, well, that might not work. Now it got to the point where you get to college, it's like, oh yeah, I don't mind being in front of a crowd of people speaking and talking about how great our football team is, but now when we go on TV, that changed. So it's levels to it for me.
Sure.
So I can't say I was ever shy initially, but there are certain levels that I had to cross over that weren't, I would say I wasn't shy about it, but it was like intimidating.
Yeah.
Now I'm on TV almost pretty much every other day of the week. I mean, I'm on Fox and all those different things too, and I do radio, and I do this show here, so it doesn't bother me anymore because I realize that what I'm saying, what I have going on, is touching somebody else. Somebody else is like watching me, and they're basically connecting to me and going like, oh, I believe what he believes, I think what he thinks, and I guess it's something that I always try to tell people, like, your words, your voice, your opinion matters to someone because they're identifying themselves with you. So when I go to these places and see these creatives go up and I see them go do their poetry, I see them go do their pieces, and I see what they actually put out there, you know what else I see? Are the people that watch them as they walk back to their seat, all the way back to look at them and see how they sit down, see who they're with, and see how their body language, because they really are connecting with that poet. And of course I see it because I got the camera, so I'm always the overseeing watch of everything, and I'm like, oh wow, people are really into you, really into your piece, really into your art form. People that watch you because it's almost like looking at artwork. and they're trying to understand every brush stroke, every single thing you do. And that's why it's always important to kind of like, and I don't want to put it this way, but it's always important to connect with other creatives, and that's why I'm talking about as far as dating. When you date someone and they're not a creative, how does that affect you? That's always one. That's why I say writing is therapy, and what we do is therapy. And that's always one. That's why I want to have this show. A couple key points, real quick. HWA was researched. They just so you know, that was research.
Okay, great.
iTunes sales today, boy,
Yeah.
I tell you.
Carrie says she's a hybrid of both introvert extrovert, which I can see that because sometimes when you have to for your job or for whatever you do have to be extroverted, but your energy extroverted, but your energy comes back when you're introverted away from people. Me, I get my energy when I'm around people. Twan will tell you, like even with him too. That's why I asked him, but I know he's pretty much extrovert. I don't prep him for the show.
Nah.
The reason I don't prep him for the show because this energy comes from what's going to be talked about. And for myself, I only prep myself for the show with maybe 4 or 5 notes because more energy comes from what we're going to talk about. I know what direction we're going in. Don't get me wrong. I plan.
And these are authentic responses.
Exactly. And that's the whole point we do, and that's why I make sure we keep everything together. Oh, and of course, Carrie says she's evolved as a person. I think we all eventually evolve as a person.
I hope
And that's a different level.
Some people don't.
I hope you don't say
That's the sad
that.
thing.
It never
It's just
stops.
sad
It's like,
people
It never stops.
getting old and they're not getting wise.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on? Why are you having all these experiences and not
Right.
getting better? Like, how does that work?
So, like I'm saying about levels to this, here's an example. Now, with your music, someone says, hey, put together, out of the blue, Jay-Z's like, hey, put together, I'm doing an album with the All of the Rock again. Put a beat together for me. How do you feel as a creative? Does that feel like it's on your platform now, or does it feel like that's something out of your territory?
No, it's not out of my territory. I am confident though.
Okay.
I will. Oh, okay. How many beats you want? Okay. How much time I got? Okay, I got you. No problem.
Okay.
I am confident in what I do. So.
Oprah calls you up and says she wants to do a show based on the spirituality and, of course, everything that you do. How do you feel day one when you get that phone call? Are you now
I'm
ready?
I'm ready. I'm gonna get ready.
Absolutely.
Just jump in.
I'm gonna
Just
get
jump
there and see
in.
what to do. Hey, Oprah.
Now, she gonna be there shaking.
I'm gonna show up.
You gonna be there though.
Sure, love her.
Don't let it pass you by.
No.
Yana Bonzant gives you a call,
oh, buddy.
and she's like, hey, I want you to go ahead and do a separate connection
Why you
with...
say her name? I'm there. that is on my bucket list to sit in a room with Ayala and just exchange brains.
She wants you to do a separate show and just only have it directed towards women or single moms. You feel the confidence you're going to get there?
Yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Russell Simmons is like, you know what, screw this. I'm doing all Def Jam poetry again. I want you to be a host.
Oh, you what?
He said,
Oh my
"No."
God.
Where's your
Absolutely.
With the glasses.
Absolutely.
Keep the
So
glass.
this one be paying attention.
I love
Absolutely.
Okay. See, the reason I asked y'all those questions
Didn't
because
even think twice.
this is my that's usually like my setup question. My
Okay.
next question is when did the confidence come though? Because now everybody's saying yeah.
Yeah.
When did that level of confidence come where you're like, you know what, I got this now? Do you know the time frame when you were like, oh no, I couldn't do that? To now it's like, if I'm asked to do something, is it with age? Is it with experience? When did it come?
That figuring it out stage. When you're in the muck of your mess and you're tired and fed up and being the same, when you start figuring yourself out, that's where that confidence and all that growth and fertile soil starts to marinate, and that's when you start figuring out, yeah, I can do this because this is just for me. So yeah, it's hard to explain, but it's a cool thing
At what age do you think you wouldn't have this confidence?
that I would not have.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an age. I think there's a level of experience that I had to go through, and I went through it early. There's some adult, or not adult, but women who are older than me who still haven't went through that, so they won't be able to identify with that confidence and be able to go for it. But
Well, the rest of you guys. When did you get that level of confidence? When did that occur? Can you see when that occurred for you? Did you go through something? Did you just get to that level of like, fuck it, I'm gonna be the best. I don't care.
That.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And I don't care what you think about me. When I got there is when it was like, okay. Yeah, I don't care. And that had to be like
I'm in your head right now because I'm thinking about my number. Like,
right. Because it's like Because I went, you know, sometimes you'll go through a time where you step your foot out the door and then you pull right back.
Mm-hmm.
And then next experience that you go through, you go out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go right back to the same place. And then it's that one, like I said, that one situation. And then you just out the door, you're like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care.
Going back.
I'm not coming back.
I'm not. Like, that's it. And I had to be like, a couple years ago.
Okay.
Now it's like, it's not like it was like, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
A couple years. And then you just
Just go with it. Just jet with it.
Because you got to go back to what's familiar. You kind of got to. It's scary. Just jump. You can't jump into anything just head first. When you're, a certain way for a certain amount of time, a long amount of time, or whatever, you go back to that because it's familiar, it's comfortable. So you may grow a little bit, say I'm never going to do that, and you go back to that kind of same mindset and say, I remember now why I left this, and then you go back out. See how good it feels. Be like, it's not comfortable because it's different. And then you finally get that, I'm tired of this shit.
and you just go.
You're Superman now. You just run out.
Go.
Yeah.
And that's when it's like, I don't care what you think or anybody else. Lock the door because I ain't coming back.
And how long it took you to get there, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
What about you, Anna?
I think if I had to put an age on it, I guess I'd probably say maybe 22 or 23. The reason why I know I was meant to do music is because I had like a drum machine or something like that. Never was good at playing piano and stuff like that. My cousin left his workstation at my house. If you don't know what a workstation is, that's where you can put the beats on. It's got 8 million instruments in it, and you can put the whole beat together.
Yeah.
He left that over my house. He showed me how to work it. I had no idea. I just had no idea what to do. I just said, I want a keyboard. And one day he just came. He's like, hey, hold on to this for me for a while. And I just, one day, one note here, one drum sound there. And I was like, got in my head, like, God must really want me to do this. Because, I put the beat together.
Yeah.
Not only did I put the beat together, I put the sounds together. Now I'm sequencing and layering everything on top of each other. Nobody's taught me this, really. I've just seen it from other people, from other producers.
Yeah.
But I just started doing it. So that's why at that point I was like, oh, wow. I don't know how to do anything, but I just put this whole thing together. So I think that was probably like 22. When he did that, that changed my whole life. I've been confident ever since. Because I figure if I had nothing and I could do something with nothing, because most people feel like if I got everything, I could do something.
Yeah.
But I had nothing.
Yeah.
And I just went into something. So that's when I was like, you know what? This is meant for me to do.
Yeah.
How about you, Toya?
Oh, you made me cry.
Awesome.
You say what?
You made me cry.
Don't cry.
Oh.
I'm
sorry, I'm
off the
sorry.
air.
I
Off
wanna
the air.
cry.
Off the air. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Toya. Go ahead.
Then everybody.
Not everybody. I'm not a crier. No.
I'll be watching.
Great story, Antoine. I like that story.
Like I'm watching someone else while you cry.
It's the truth.
I enjoyed that.
I'll go get the
It's
tissue.
the truth. Stop it. Tear. Then we're going to close out early today.
I'm gonna cry in the car.
Oh, I'm losing connection.
You say that. You say that, and then everybody's crying. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Already know.
I just
Wait
got
till the alarm
thirsty all of a
system
sudden.
Bathroom break. Bathroom break.
All this water, I just got thirsty all of a sudden. I got another in the refrigerator. I'm gonna go.
All right, let's get back. I'm sorry. Let's hear it.
Toya, what about you? When did you realize that you got to that point, whether it be experience or age, that you're like, you know what? If anybody comes a calling, I'm ready for that.
I just started doing what I love, and I was always good at what I loved, and I just wasn't doing it. I was doing a lot of stuff I sucked at, and I was really bad at a lot of things.
Yeah. Were you confident in all
I
those
wasn't
bad
even
things?
confident. I wasn't
Oh, okay.
confident, and I was bad at it. But
Right.
it wasn't my calling. It wasn't my purpose. Thank God I wasn't good at it, because right now I'd be a bartender. Like, I wouldn't be here with y'all right now, because that's what I was doing before. And I was a terrible bartender. And I was making good money because I had a good personality. But the part I liked was the interacting and talking to people. But like when I really tapped into that part of myself where it's like I'm doing what I love, I just felt confident about it. It was like my primal nature. Like, this is just
What
this is
age?
nothing.
What age?
This is
It's
nothing.
enough.
Like anytime I was doing anything I loved, I was like feeling good about it. It's just I wouldn't spend a lot of time in that space because it didn't feel like a thing. I like to talk.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a thing. I didn't know what to do with it. I never thought of it that way. But in terms of like conceptualizing it as something I can like do, maybe like 6 months ago. About 6 months ago.
Wow.
That's interesting. So, for me, the one point that I guess, and it's kind of maybe that fucking I'm gonna do it stage, is I've always been told, and I hate this damn word to the day, I have potential. I am like cursed with being the jack of all trades. You might say, cursed with being, yeah, I'm cursed with being the jack of all trades in the sense that if you ask me to do something, I probably know how to do it, have an idea how to do it, and it can do it up to a certain level, but not expert level. Yeah. I can do it to where maybe someone else sees it and goes, oh my gosh, that's amazing. But I'm like, that's just regular-ish. And I got tired of hearing that potential word. And I thought to myself, all this potential. And let me tell you, we actually started this 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, I think about 3 years ago.
And when I say started this 2-3 years ago, I actually had all the equipment from back then. I had everything but you can't see in here. But I had microphones and everything. I one time got to a point I said, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and buy all the equipment. And then that sat for 2 years. Then again, it was more potential. It just sat. And I'm thinking to myself, I know I can do this. I do this already. And I probably before I did the podcasting, I did a lot of public speaking. And the thing about doing public speaking is that obviously I was natural with it. I have charm, I have charisma. And I was also a trainer, so it was just something easy for myself. But then I kept realizing I have so much potential, but I'm doing so many things on an expert level for everybody but myself. Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn, everybody getting all this. And I ain't getting none of it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I need to get some of this. So that's what happened with me. It came more with levels and trials and tribulations of realizing I'm giving out all this greatness and I'm pouring into all these different buckets, but not one of those buckets had anything to do with my growth, my family's growth, or my gift. It had to do with me giving my gift out, but not actually reaping the benefits of giving it out. So now I'm at the point where I'm reaping the benefits of it, hence why we have this show, and it feels good. And people will say, well, how many, I think today a friend of mine was like, he went to my page, he's like, you got 1.2 million followers? I was like, nah, bro. Look at the actual. Look at the other part of it. I only got 400. You know what I'm saying? Go to the other part of it. But the thing is, even my 400, hey, I'm happy for it because when we started this show, we had 101, and now we're at 4, whatever it is, and then we also have the YouTube now, and the YouTube is going to be. I'm not worried about where it's going to go to because I already know how to get it to 1 million. And I know the format and everything we're doing. So, like for me, I got past the potential. And to LaToya's point, someone called me last night, a friend of mine, high school friend of mine, and she wants to do a show. And interestingly enough, she wants to do a show about mental disorders or mental health, I should say, not disorders, mental health. And we were talking for about a good maybe 30, 45 minutes about how this can help someone. Because I told the format of my show is always about relationships. It's whatever it is, relationships. So I broke it down to her how the format of her show could be about whatever mental health it is, but break it down to, or whatever you want to talk about, break it down to mental health. And I even mentioned obviously LaToya's show about the zodiacs and astrology and breaking that down to mental health and how we can help people. And interestingly enough, to LaToya's point, that's what you got to do. If there's something you feel passionate about doing, just, I hate to use Nike's term, but just do it. You don't have to have all the equipment. You don't have to be honest, the stuff you see I have, it's not really all of that. It looks like it might be. I know. But I know. I make it look good. But you don't have to have all that. You can have just your cell phone.
That's all I got.
And the thing is, and that's all she got, but she can actually do a show better than me because I don't know how do you be doing the little FaceTime face. I'm like, I didn't want to talk to somebody and do my show at the same time, but that's either here or there because my internet ain't all that. But that's what you got to do is just do it. So, I mean, this is the reason I brought this show about is to talk about creatives and how we interact in our relationships. And like I said, this is part 1 of a part 3 series. And this first part is majority of women because I like hearing about what inspires you to write, how you view different things, and kind of want to get to that point. So this is the opener. The next series is obviously going to be with the men. Some of the same questions, but it's going to go in a little bit different direction because now we're going to talk about being men and all this type of stuff that we can't talk about on this one here. You know, we got extra feely on this one here, except for Latoya was like, I don't like feelings.
I'm a dude.
Feelings.
I'm a dude in there.
It's like feelings, no.
Emotion, no, thank you. I'm not gonna deal with them.
But the second one will be, of course, with more guys. And that's going to be shot in probably about, if it's not next week, it's going to be in 2 weeks. And then the third one is another installment with women again. It'll be all women cast on that one too. And that'll finalize it off, talking about the motivation behind the writing. So writing is therapy is going to be a 3-part. And then, of course, we might even branch out to more parts. But as you guys know, as always, after about 2 hours, because I always tell people that come to the show, like, you won't even realize 2 hours pass
2 hours
by.
go by real fast.
Yeah, because after about 2 hours, what we do is we jump into the after show, which is pretty much just chilling and talking and stuff like that. Plus, it also considers bathroom breaks. So,
And it's off script.
and it's off script. So, once again, guys, I want to make sure I shout out to my wonderful host that I have here. So, I'm going to start first with LM.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kylie. Thank you. Y'all too kind.
Latoya K, where you can find Latoya K at.
You can find me on Facebook, just Latoya K, spelled Latoya.
Glad you
Last
said.
name Kay. Or you can find me on Instagram, that's Latoya K, one word, _MS.
There you go. Also, we have Autumn Sonata. You want to give out your stuff? Nah, you don't want for folks following you. You be having stalkers.
Not yet.
You be having stalkers.
Yeah, don't do that.
You got for me, you follow me.
It's some kind of
She said,
violence.
"The hell with that."
Them jokers came off the boat. I'm like, where y'all? Wait a minute. Weirdo. No, on Instagram, I am Autumn Sonata, SONATA, and Facebook, I think it's under Autumn Sonata, or maybe A Perfect Season. But the username
That's
is
2
Autumn
different things right there.
Just try them both.
It's
We're gonna do this one or this whole other word.
Try them both.
And also, of course, I want to thank my guest tonight, which is Clear Vision 34.
34.
Did I get that right?
34.
And where can they find you?
On Instagram, Clear Vision 34, Clear Vision, and then the number 34. And come follow me and follow my journey. And
It's dope.
Got another opening night coming up, or got some?
oh yeah, I'll be.
Gotta push that out there for me.
I will be the next. We'll be Cat's Cafe again.
Is that the 15th?
The 15th,
Okay.
Yes.
I'll be there recording. You guys will see that for sure.
and also,
Nice.
Sincere has an open mic.
Sincere's has
Yeah.
the arts and culture open
Arts
mic.
and culture, yeah.
The last one of the year.
Last one
It's
of the year.
Sin's Ear Sincere.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the YouTube page, Real Talk to You, and you'll be able to see his piece also. Yeah, and so those are the last 2 of the year, or are you doing anything else?
At Adam on is the gum.
What's that?
I add them on as they come.
Oh,
Okay.
I was like,
None of y'all understand what she said? I mean, I was like, okay.
I thought that was a place. I thought, that's the bar. As Mall is
So
okay.
far,
Oh, wait, what's the address for that?
I'm sorry.
I was like, where's that at?
Hey,
I'm sorry.
that's all funny. We didn't understand shit like.
Is that over? Is that Douglasville? I want to know. See if I can
new
go.
place downtown.
Okay. You had me go.
No,
I was
I'm
like,
sorry.
after the after party,
Folks are
yeah,
fun.
No, I just added the dates on as they come.
as they
You know?
come.
Well, just know that there's several different poetry spots out here. There are a couple names you can follow. Official Great Music on Instagram. He has a lot of different poetry things going on in the area of Atlanta, Georgia. You can also follow Milk, aka The Greatest in the Flesh. A lot of different poetry things happening on. That's on Instagram also. You can follow Poppy_Picasso. Oh, I'm sorry, Picasso Poetry, I believe it is. Poppy underscore. Is it Poppy_Picasso?
Too many P's. I'm
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can
Look for
follow.
Bobby. Just look
But to
for
be
Bobby.
honest, if you really want to know what's going on, just go check out my Instagram page, which is Real Talk to You Media. And I'll have some of their stuff that I'll be showing. After this actual show, this edit here, what you're going to see is I'm actually going to put Clear Vision 34's full piece from Cat's Cafe on there at the end of this. So you'll see that rolling through the credits at the end of this show here. Anybody else got something to add at all?
Nope. We've added it all.
All right, well, hey, like I always say, y'all, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Please go like the YouTube page, Real Talk to You. Go like the Facebook page, Real Talk to You. The name change may happen on Instagram, which is Real Talk to You Media, but I guess across all platforms, it'll probably be Real Talk to You Media. But go like the page, subscribe, tell somebody else. Make sure you're always sharing the live because that's how we get more people to see what we do. And if you ever have anything you want us to talk about, please, all you gotta do is text me or IM me, DM me, something me.
Just him you.
It's him me.
How y'all doing? Good. If you love yourself, say yes, yes. Yes, yes. If you're elevating in this journey that we call life and you're getting better, say yes, yes. Yes, yes. I'm about to do a new piece that I just wrote. It's short, so it won't be too long. I'm letting go now of the up all night cries, tears that don't dry, fighting to stay alive in Him. I'm leaving behind the secrets that I thought was yours and mine, but in reality it was nothing but a group chat. I said I do, you said I do too, and as each word started to fall off, to do I is exactly what it became. I'm throwing away your broken promises, shattered memories, rotted lies, and jacked up alibis. Good thing the trash man comes every Monday, you know?
Let's go.
I used to carry a body full of emotional bruises, stress, confusion, heartache, imbalance. I even questioned my faith because I didn't know anything about it. But I finally figured it out. You never deserved me, I deserved me. See, really, love was never meant to hurt me. And your misfortunes and your pain was never meant to be mine. So I think I'm ready now. I think I'm ready now. Yeah. You missed out on me. And I will go on to do great things, and the blood in my veins will once again react to a sense of normality and positive flow. My sense of self will be exactly that, sense of self. My sanity will no longer be at my feet, where I feel running is my safety net and disappearing is my best bet. I'm free now. I feel like a fallen angel whose wings just grew back. I think I'm ready now. Yeah. I think I'm ready now to take flight, to make my wrongs right. Elevation, what a journey indeed. Finding the need to be better than I was yesterday, and today I stand here before you free. Don't ever let anyone make you feel conforming to society's standards are real. It's you that's real. We were created from the ground up so that you'll know exactly where you stand. So let that be enough. I need you all to say something for me. Say, I am enough.
I am enough.
I have always been enough.
I have always been enough.
And so it is, and so it shall be.
And so it is, and so it shall be.
All right. Thank you. So follow me on Instagram at ClearVision34, and thank you all.
Yeah. Hey, once again, guys, I hope you liked this video you just saw here from Real Talk to You. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Always catch our show live every Thursday on Facebook at Real Talk to You at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Real Talk to You.